welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends run outside of their homes in the middle of the night, discuss film and television.
Ed and Eddie style.
At 2:17 a.m., mind you, to discuss the latest in film and television. Then they do it all over again some other time. I didn't really think that far ahead in terms of how I could apply the logic of weapons to our intro, and I figured I'd, throw people for a loop and change things up. But anyway, this is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following episode. My name, the man blathering on incessantly with this nonsensical bit, my name is Colton Brown, and joining me is Andrew Meadows.
Listening is me, Andrew Meadows. Nice to see you this
That's right.
wonderful evening, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. It's the middle of the week-ish. Oh, it's the beginning of the week, isn't it?
But
oh,
God damn, it feels
I'd like to think it's the middle of the week. In my brain, I just thought it was Wednesday. Turns out it's Tuesday. But
it's been a
the
long
big news
one so far.
has made everyone's week turn around. Travis and Taylor.
Oh,
time or not, maybe. So that's the sort of news that really just brings one joy on a Tuesday. In all honesty, good for them. I'm joking because everyone has to chime in on such things. But no, I'm all right. I'm excited. We took a week off from recording last week so that one Mr. Meadows could take a theater trip and not lose out obviously on precious family time and stuff like that. That's kind of how we have to do things.
Yes.
As you are quite busy between work and a wife and two children, and I'm sure many other things that happen in your life. So yeah, you did take a theater trip quite recently to see a movie by the name of Weapons. Or at least I hope you did. Otherwise, it's going to be a short episode.
No, I certainly did. The rare theater trip. Yeah, I went and saw a movie, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, we've really got a couple actually. We've got a couple of horror movies that we're pretty much primed to talk about. We contemplated maybe doing them on one single episode, but I think for the sake of saving our sleep schedule, you and I, and also perhaps for the sake of saving our listeners from another 3+ hour extravaganza, we're going to split things up. So we're covering Weapons on this episode, and the main reason for that, I mean, technically we've seen it more recent than the other movie, but because it's a hot topic. It's in theaters now. It's still playing in theaters right now. So I think recording on it sooner gives us the opportunity to weigh in on it, give a recommendation on it, and talk about it while it's still kind of part of the water cooler conversation, and let people know if maybe they should be part of the conversation too, or maybe if they should run away from the conversation at 2:17 a.m. And the other movie that we are going to be covering, which we would have sort of alluded to, I guess, at the end of our Fantastic Four episode, I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly anyway, if I can think back to a couple weeks ago, was 28 Years Later, which again, we're more or less ready to talk about it. I saw it a while ago in theaters. Andrew has seen it far more recently at home. But it's one I think that, look, that's an interesting movie, and I'm really excited to talk about that one, and I do think it deserves its own space. Let's put it that way. So we're going to save that for our next episode. So we'll have a little bit of a summer horror double feature going on between this episode and next episode. 297, 298 will be a little
superheroes
summer horror double feature package.
Horror films in the middle of summertime. 2025
why not?
is
right?
2025 is padding out to be a pretty cool year for movies, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We haven't really had, I don't want to speak too soon. I feel like we haven't had anything too, like, what the fuck happened here, or like too, like, oh, that was disappointing, I guess we kind of started the year with Captain America, and I feel like we've kind of built on top of that, at least thus far, and remains to be seen whether Weapons, is certainly something that is worthy of, saying that it's better than Captain America Brave New World, but good God, we sure hope it is.
I did have a theater
Very
trip.
different movie, though. Very different movie. Yeah. Is it the kind of movie that, Andrew, we took the week off recording. Andrew went to a theater, would have had to drive there and drive back home, maybe deal with some traffic. Is Weapons the kind of movie that stands up to that sort of dedication? Well, we'll talk about it. We will talk about it later. We've got the usual for everyone. We'll start things with a dad joke in just a minute. Fun fact, maybe 2 fun facts, maybe 3 fun facts. Who's to say? Maybe 4. I don't know. Then we get into the 3-hour territory. But then we've got a small in memoriam entry, some headlines. One headline, actually, one very interesting and exciting headline, and then some trailers to talk about. And then we'll get into weapons, what we've been up to, and that'll be that. So why don't we start things off with a totally embarrassing dad joke if you've got, one loaded.
I just got a little bit of a pun.
Loaded for us.
And I thought it could be, it can be construed to be kind of related, I suppose, if you're thinking abstractly. But
to weapons,
potentially,
is that what you mean?
Potentially to horror type things. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And it's just the fact that my grandfather, he's got the heart of a lion.
Okay.
And a lifetime ban at the zoo. Radio silence. He can't go to the zoo because he took the heart of a lion.
Okay. All right. I see. Okay. See, the radio silence was me trying to figure out, like, wait, what am I supposed to be guessing here?
No, it's just
like,
wait,
there wasn't a question. I was like, wait, what am I supposed to be figuring out?
No question.
Now?
It was just a pun. But sometimes dad jokes.
It's just telling the joke, and you yourself give the punchline. Yes, right. Okay. Yeah. See, I was like, wait, hold on, what do I do? And then there was the moment where I'm like, wait, I was supposed to just, like process that. Like something was being told to me. I wasn't being asked anything. And then I was like, oh God, let me replay it in my head. And so it took me a minute to get there.
Well,
so I appreciate your
explanation. Most dad jokes and puns, oftentimes when delivered by me, result in radio silence. So that's what it's like. You know,
you got to work on that. You're a double dad, man. There's no excuses for not having peak dad energy, dad joke energy. So that's okay. That's all right. All right. I should have done better. I should have known. I should have just absorbed it a little bit better. That's not on you. I'm trying to
the dad energy. It's been a long week, dude. The dad energy, joke energy is waning for sure.
It's been a long week. It's fucking Tuesday, man.
You have no idea.
Oh boy. All right. Well, let's do a fun fact maybe. If you're up for something related to weapons, a fun fact about weapons.
Yeah.
There's so many weapons out there. AK-47s, AR-15s,
firearms.
And the good news is they're really freely accessible in America. The US of A is very encouraging of owning any and all weapons that you possibly can.
That's right.
So what a lovely country we live in. But my actual fun fact about weapons, and I actually legitimately had a few different options, and I'm gonna, in the interest of not throwing 3 fun facts at our listeners right off the bat, I'm going to pick one for now, and then I will incorporate my knowledge of things into our conversation on weapons so that we have some fun facts interspersed throughout the episode. So the fun fact that I will offer to start this episode, see, now I'm like debating, which one should I do? What should I save for later? Well, I think I will say that this movie was directed by someone named Zach Cregger, who I don't know how familiar you are with him. He, prior to this, directed a movie called Barbarian back in 2022, which was a horror film, and that was really his directorial debut. I have admittedly still not seen Barbarian, though I've heard it's quite wild and very different from expectations, and I really do want to watch it, and it's one of those things, like, I feel like I got spoiled on like what happened, but now it's been long enough since I was spoiled on it that I actually don't remember what the spoilers are, so it might come back to me if I like watched it potentially, and I had hoped and intended to watch it honestly before Weapons came out and then before we recorded this, but life happens and you get distracted with other things, and so it just didn't come to pass. But I'm hoping that I will. Anyway, that's not the fun fact. The fun fact is not that I didn't watch Barbarian. The fun fact is that Zach Cregger, before he was directing Barbarian, if we I don't know, go all the way back to, let's say, the late 2000s into the early 2010s. He was part of an American sketch comedy troupe called The Whitest Kids You Know.
Oh,
I don't know if you're familiar with these white kids, as they were back in the day. Trevor Moore, Zach Cregger, Sam Brown, Timmy Williams, and Darren Trumeter were the Whitest Kids You Know. Had a lot of sketches and stuff. I mean, you can still find a lot of them on YouTube. And so that's the fun side of things. The not so fun side of things is, that I mean, the comedy troupe, I think they really stopped doing stuff in like 2011-ish, or at least they had the series that they did on TV ended around then. I'm not sure how much they did really past that, like altogether. But unfortunately, one of the founding members, Trevor Moore, passed away in 2021, and that was actually a huge influence on Zach Cregger in terms of the writing process for this movie. I'll just say a very sad story, his death. I think he accidentally fell from a balcony. He was had alcohol in his system. So it seems like it was just a really awful, tragic situation. And so, yeah, for when it came to writing Weapons, Zach Cregger was basically like, that was a horrible chapter of his life. And so a lot of it was just really infusing, this idea of alcoholism, something that he grew up with his parents, it sounds like, and just trying to digest it. And he basically described like this, all the emotions that he ever had, and he kind of infused that into these characters, all the emotions that he was feeling in the aftermath of this tragedy, he put into this movie, put into this character, to the characters here. I don't know if this is his language, but Polygon describes it as a form of psychological triage, which is like a really interesting kind of concept. And so I think that, when we talk about this movie, we'll certainly get a better, we can get more into depth into the conversation of like, how do you feel that in these characters, and how do you feel that, and, the emotions that these characters experience through this, very, very crazy premise that this movie presents. But yeah, I thought that was really, really quite interesting that, something like Weapons, which is kind of, I don't know, pretty batshit, right? As a general concept, it's very unique, I would say, for that to come from such a, personal place. I thought was actually very interesting. So the fun fact again was more the side of, hey, he was part of this fun comedy troupe, and then obviously there's the sad part of that comes from the origins of this film.
We'll talk about it a bit more, but you can tell it's infused with a little bit more than just run of the mill, like yearly horror kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's there's more to it.
I would agree. Yeah. Yes. I would agree. And I would imagine part of it is obviously just someone that's creative and has ideas flowing, but yeah, maybe coming from a very real, raw emotional place. I think that's, it's really interesting, to channel that sort of thing into something like Weapons,
Right.
Most people would not process things and make something like Weapons. Like that's a very unique and creative mind that stumbles, into making something like Weapons as a result, as a response to trauma and tragedy. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Weapons. We'll talk about
and if you haven't seen Barbarian,
emotions and all that, and
I 100% endorse watching Barbarian. It is a ridiculous movie. It's so much fun. It's very funny. It's spooky. There's some good jump scares in there, and it's highly recommend it. Very good movie.
Okay.
So
all right.
Glowing endorsement.
I'm trying to see if it's looks like it's on Netflix for 4 days, so that's not helpful to anyone listening to this.
Get after it. Yeah.
You can rent it. I know it was on HBO for a while, and I'm not sure that it still is, but either way, yeah. It sounds like I should watch it on Netflix in the next 4 days. At least that may be beneficial to me. Andrew's recommendation to go watch it. So
yeah,
I'll try to make it happen. We'll see. Things that
you'll definitely you'll
sometimes gets in the way, but
I know.
I expect I will enjoy it.
You will enjoy it. I know for a fact you will.
I expect I will. It's just carving out the 2 hours or whatever it ends up being. Right? Exactly. Easier said than done. But what we can now move on to is, we took a week off from recording, so of course here we are. It's an in memoriam section. That's just how these things go when we take too long between recording sessions.
This guy.
So today we will talk on the podcast about the death of Terence Stamp, British actor Terence Stamp, who has passed away at the age of 87. Very recognizable actor, been in many things, but I think most notably for me, maybe for you, maybe for some people, maybe for a lot of people, played the original General Zod in the Christopher Reeve Superman films. So in the Superman the movie and in Superman 2, he was General Zod. But of course, he was in a great many things beyond that, including films like Billy Budd, The Collector, more recently, or I guess I should say later in his career, which is to say more prominent for someone like Andrew and myself, who obviously, we're not young, but we're not that old either, we'd like to think. Had an important role in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, Chancellor Valorum. 2003 is The Haunted Mansion. He played, I think he played fucking Stick in that Jennifer Garner 2005 Elektra movie. He was in Wanted, James McAvoy, and Morgan Freeman and Angelina Jolie. She was in that, right?
Young Guns.
Get Smart, Yes Man, Valkyrie. His final film performance was Edgar Wright's film Last Night in Soho, 2021.
Yeah.
But yes, certainly prolific from really the 60s on. Tons of movies that he was in, and I'll confess, tons of movies that I have not seen, including something like Billy Budd and The Collector, but and the Limey was a little bit later, 1999 Soderbergh movie. So yeah, just all up and down, did a lot. Again, I mean, General Zod, is a big one, very memorable performance there. I'm just stumbling around, and he was apparently at one point approached to play the role of James Bond when Connery retired, but that didn't happen, obviously. So, but he had a very prolific career outside of that. I'll say. So, passed away at 87 years old. So I don't know what your Terence Stamp experience is.
I mean, it's all that maybe early 2000s stuff. Early mid 2000s
that we would have grown up seeing. Totally
except the Western. I was scrolling through here, and I do remember him in Young Guns. I have seen that before.
Gotcha.
And I actually, I struggle with this. It's a very big problem for me. But I actually thought he was this picture on Variety. I actually thought he was the Clockwork Orange guy. I can't remember his name.
Malcolm McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell. Yeah, that's what that's his picture there kind of resembles Malcolm McDowell a little bit.
Yeah, I do see the resemblance. The good news is Malcolm McDowell is presently alive. So
That's good. He's got to be old as fuck.
That little moment in your heart. I just checked. He's 82. I had to check to make sure he was still alive as well, but I can confirm as of recording that he's doing okay. As far as you and I are aware, he's doing okay.
That's good.
But he is also a British actor, and I kind of agree that picture in the Variety article. It does kind of look like Malcolm McDowell.
And to be in my defense, it's on the corner. My laptop is on a stand on the corner of my desk. It's a 13-inch laptop, and I don't have my glasses on either. So, I thought it was him. So, anyways, yeah. Well, yes. Either way, rest in peace, Terence Stamp.
Yes.
Natural causes. Does it say?
I don't
87,
know,
and I imagine it's got to be.
Yeah, so I don't know that there's anything untoward about it. 87's, I think we generally consider that
it's a ripe old age.
A good life, in terms of, duration. So yeah, tons of stuff. If anyone has any recommendations on some Terence Stamp movies that I haven't mentioned, or I have mentioned and have mentioned that I haven't seen them, certainly would invite that. It's clear the man has a very extensive filmography that
we're not 100% familiar with. Yeah.
And quite honestly, there's just the simple fact of, I don't claim to be a cinephile. I don't claim to be a lot of things. But one thing I can definitely freely admit to is there's a lot of movies that came out really particularly like, I would say 60s, 70s. That's kind of a blind spot for me in many, many ways. It's just not something I grew up watching, and so, you know, Anna's probably better at that than of the two of us, and often introduces me to things that I have certainly heard about but never watched. And so yeah, absolutely. If there's any recommendations of things that you and I should check out, that Terence Stamp was in, would be happy to entertain those recommendations. But yeah, for now we'll
I think that goes for everything. If there's ever a movie that anybody would like to hear,
of course,
you know, opinions about, I think that would make a speedy bonus episode. You know? Definitely.
Yeah, if we can watch it at home, we can talk about it at home. It's you know, that's not a huge ask.
We can crank that shit out pretty quick.
It's just finding the time. But, you know, where there's a demand for it, a specific demand for it, I feel like you know, there's some added incentive there to be like, oh, I could watch Barbarian, but like, what if I just played Marvel Snap for 2 hours instead? You know, or what if I just did nothing instead for 2 hours? What if I just watched Love It or List It for 2 hours instead? Like, what if? Yeah, what if I did that? Yeah. You know, American Idol, is it back yet? I don't know, but probably
I'll probably be watching it. I promise you.
All right. Yes, recommend things. We were happy to hear recommendations. All right, let's move to headlines because I'm fucking stoked to talk about this headline.
Stop.
All right, is this the first time you're seeing this headline? Like, are you processing this information live on air?
Yes. What the fuck is this?
Right. Well, that information is that Nicolas Cage is in talks to star in HBO's True Detective Season 5. And holy fuck, this may very well be a dream come true. So it is not, doesn't sound like he signed on the dotted line. May not happen, but it's making its way to the trades.
You know, the man will.
Some smoke here. You know, like, give the man his money is how I feel about it personally. HBO, you've got money. You can afford to pay Nicolas Cage. So I'm excited about this on its face, is what I'll say. Even though I'm like kind of like iffy on True Detective in the sense that season 1 is fucking outstanding.
Yeah,
season 2 is dog shit. Didn't watch season 3, watched half of season 4 and thought it was like fine, but apparently people hated that fucking, you know, season. I don't know. I don't really know how to feel about True Detective.
The headline's a little prestige, or the headline's a little I just lost my word. The Oscar winner is in talks to top line the latest iteration of the prestige crime drama.
Yeah, I mean, that's maybe overselling things a little bit. But weirdly enough, Night Country, which was the 4th season, like, got incredible reviews critically.
Did it really? Okay.
Like, really, really well received critically. And then if you talk to anyone that watched that show, or if you look at any Reddit thread about it, or Reset Era thread, whatever, people are like, this show fucking sucks, and none of it makes sense, and everything is bad in it, except for maybe Jodie Foster, because she's just, you know, she's good. She's Jodie Foster.
Right.
And so there's not much you can really levy in terms of complaints there. So I watched, like, I think 3 or 4 episodes of maybe 7 or 8, and I thought it was fine. Like, it was a little slow moving, and I didn't, like, clearly feel compelled enough to go back. But part of the reason I think I stopped was because I just heard the buzz was just, like, so detached from what the critics had watched. And it's like, did the critics only watch like 2 episodes and that's what they reviewed, and then the rest of the season was ass? Like, I don't know. I really don't know how to feel about it. But again, what I will say, or at least what I think I was about to say, is, look, despite me not watching most of True Detective other than season 1, which again was incredible. Actually, other than seasons 1 and 2, which were very much, different sides of two different sides of a coin. You know, Nicolas Cage headlining True Detective. I'm fucking in, hook, line, and sinker. I mean, no question about it. I have to watch this. That's must-watch television. Because Nick Cage doesn't do TV. We've talked about this before, because he's doing that Spider Noir series, and that's the first time he's, like, legitimately done a TV role. So for him to kind of be being more open to taking these sorts of things, like I'm interested as hell in Spider Noir, because it's a weird fucking 1930s detective Spider-Man thing with Nicolas fucking Cage. Like, that sounds weird as hell.
Crazy,
I have to be interested in that.
Career trajectory this guy's had.
Oh, totally. And, like, so, you know, I mean, I can hear my dad listening to this right now and just cringing, because he cannot stand Nicolas Cage. And I think he probably did not like that last season of True Detective, so this is probably a good excuse for him to not watch it.
He didn't like Nicolas Cage, National Treasure or anything?
I just don't think he likes his type of acting, which is, generally speaking, very over the top and quite ridiculous. But I think it works for things, and it doesn't work as well for other things. I mean, there was like that 15 year 20 year span where it was just trash, like relentless trash, like post National Treasure. We're talking like, I don't know, man, like Knowing. God, there was a whole bunch of shit.
The fucking Burning Man or whatever the hell it was with the bees.
The Wicker Man. Honestly, you might as well throw Ghost Rider into that pile too of trash.
Oh, my skull's on fire.
He made a lot of crap. All right, he made a lot of crap. And hey, I'm sure it paid well, and he probably needed the money and whatever. But I do feel like of late, like the past, I don't know, roughly 5 years, like we're getting an interesting Nicolas Cage renaissance. I think. I think.
Oh, yeah, we are.
The one where he played himself, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I feel like
that's what did it for me.
Pretty recently. Loved that. He was great in that. He's been doing some weird shit that I haven't seen. Like Pigs was supposed to be really good. Dream Scenario was supposed to be good. He did another one, Color Out of Space or something like that, which I think is maybe Lovecraft or something. I don't know, man.
What?
Like he's been doing some
I think I
shit.
did see that. I did see that one.
Longlegs, had issues with the movie itself, at least in terms of how it ended. But like Nick Cage was fucking excellent in that. He was probably the best part of it. And I say that not facetiously. I say that completely 100% genuinely.
He just has an energy.
I think this is fantastic. I have another thing to say about this, but I don't want to continue hogging the microphone. So I'm genuinely very excited. And
what's the other thing you got to say about it? I'd like to hear it.
Well, I wanted to ask if you were excited before I gave a little.
I am. My opinion of Nick Cage is he's right for certain roles and he's not right for certain roles. You know what I mean? Like I think
that's a fair stance. Absolutely. He's a very specific type of actor. He performs in a very specific way, and he doesn't really usually stretch outside of that. Like Longlegs was still kind of Nicolas Cage, but it was more transformative because he didn't look like Nicolas Cage.
That's right.
But he still
acted,
behaved
like
and sounded like him.
And if the character's written in such a way to where Nick Cage makes sense, you take something like I like Matchstick Men. I don't know if that's a well-rated movie or not. I like
that's in the era where he wasn't making trash. So.
I like a lot of Nick Cage movies. At the same time, I see Nick Cage in certain movies. I'm like, oh fuck, this movie's like I said, it's shit. So it's either it's.
There's a lot of paycheck movies on the man's filmography. I don't think there's any there's any doubt. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah, So, but I tend to lean on the side that I like Nick Cage. You know what I mean? I think he's a good actor. He's just a lot, so you got to know how to channel that. Either in written script or in direction, you have to know how to channel this guy. But I think he's a cool actor. So, as long as, True Detective has not given me anything personally, hasn't given me anything since season 1. I admittedly haven't watched anything since the Vince Vaughn. Is it Vince Vaughn? It's Vince Vaughn. The Vince Vaughn season, which is season 2?
Yes, that was 2. Yeah.
Yeah, that was enough for me. This pretty much spur me from the entire series. I've never even turned it on since then.
That's fair. It was quite bad. It was quite bad. And I feel like season 3 was supposed to be better, and season 4 I've said already a lot about it. Obviously. Yeah. Your mileage may vary. Let's put it that way.
I wanted to watch the Jodie Foster one, but I couldn't find the motivation to do it. Kind of the Mahershala Ali one too. Fair. I think he was in season 3, right?
He was.
Once again, 3, both of those seasons have star power to kind of try to pull me in, but I just couldn't find the willpower to kind of like jump in on it.
Sure.
So Nick Cage. I think Nick Cage will drum up the star power. Yeah, I think I'd do it. So I'm here for it.
So is he the only detective? Are you going to throw him in with someone? I don't know. That's maybe a conversation for another day. Who could
it be?
I don't know. You gotta.
How do you match the energy to that?
I don't know. I think you put him with another gender. I think you give him maybe someone a little younger, like a not necessarily a rookie, but a little bit.
Are you fucking kidding me? Like I could just,
where he's the hard boiled detective. Maybe he could be a little crooked. Nicolas Cage would definitely be a little crooked.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. There's some ways you could do that, but I don't know who would be necessarily like a great fit.
A, B, C. I don't know how you match it. Whoever they match them with.
I don't know.
It's gonna be star power, or like, what if they get killed in season 1 and that's part of the true crime? You know what I mean? What if he loses his partner? You could do that. That makes it a little easier. But anyways, yeah.
Well, anyways, the one other thing I wanted to say on this headline, we've been dwelling on it, and it's their only headline, so I don't feel too bad about it. Back in, and I just checked this, back in 2018, we did a fun little gag. We did a fun little gag for our listeners. We put out an April Fool's episode called 50 Shades Freed, which we covered the final chapter of the 50 Shades movies. We obviously did not do that. It was just a little fun thing where we put a fake episode out. But as part of that, we did a whole fake episode description. Colton and Andrew review the final chapter of Anastasia and Christian's hot, steamy romance in 50 Shades Freed. And we did fake news. We did fake everything. Catching up with Andrew. Andrew had watched Baraka. I had watched Godzilla 1998, my favorite movie of all time.
These were the glory days.
We had a lot more time on our hands. I don't know why. Don't ask questions. Don't ask why we had more time on our hands. We weren't two lonely men. No, I don't think so.
No children, no wives, just movies.
But we did some fake headlines. We did the New Mutants delayed to 2028. Didn't come to pass, but it was pretty close. We did a fake headline. Marvel sets 2021 release date for Thor 4 Valhalla. Still waiting for it. We did, what's this? 1959. Nicolas Cage to headline True Detective Season 4.
Are you kidding me?
That was our fake headline. That was our headline that we made. So we got the season wrong.
Do we have a listener in HBO?
Oh man, I am. That's the number. I will say I'm pumped to see Nicolas Cage in True Detective on its face. That intrigues me. That intrigues the hell out of me. But the cherry on top of all of that is this is the sort of thing that we would joke about, and we might have even talked about this on air. I don't remember conversations that we had in 2018, but the good news is they're recorded and still available. So if anyone wants to scrub for any sort of conversations we maybe have had in the past about True Detective, be my guest.
And you may want to tune in for next week's lottery numbers as well.
Yeah, we might have some good ones. Might have some good ones for you, although maybe we'll save them for ourselves. We're very selfish in that way. So anyway, I am just thrilled that this may come to pass. I will be exceptionally disappointed if it doesn't happen, but I will be exceptionally thrilled if it does. So anyway, I'm not saying we predict the future, and it's not like this is some completely crazy, far-fetched thing. But hey, back in 2018, Nicolas Cage wasn't doing TV roles. True Detective Season 4 was probably a pipe dream. Like, I don't know if Night Country was even in development at that point. So, like, I don't know, man. It's a lot of things.
I mean, I feel like what season would it have been in 2018? I guess it would have been season 3, right? Season 3 had already been out. 3
might have been out around that time. So, I mean, obviously, like, predicting that a series with, 3 seasons is going to get a 4th season wasn't exactly a crazy thing. 3rd season was 2019, so the 3rd season hadn't happened yet, but it was probably in the works at that time. So again, all right, so maybe it's not a far-fetched prediction to imagine that True Detective would get a 4th season, but to be fair, it didn't happen until 5 years after that point. So maybe there was some COVID times during that period, but whatever. So anyway, that's what I'm going to say. Nicolas Cage, maybe True Detective Season 5. We hope. We certainly hope. Let's talk some trailers if you're ready. We've got 4 things, one of which is a pseudo trailer, I'll say, but I lumped it in here because it was a video, technically, that you watch on YouTube and such. We'll start with Stranger Things 5. We have an official teaser for it. We had a date announcement probably a few episodes back that we talked about. This has a lot more footage, certainly showing off the budget that they're putting towards making these, I guess, last movies technically TV episodes, but kind of many movies, at least if it's anything like Stranger Things 4 was. And again, just to reiterate, it's getting a weird kind of wonky drop in terms of how they're, stretching out the final season. We're getting Volume 1 November 26th, so around Thanksgiving. Yeah. Volume 2 on Christmas, I guess Christmas Day, and then the big finale, the all-timer finale of Stranger Things will air New Year's Eve of 2025. So we are going to wait until the very end of the year to be able to watch all of this, the entirety of Stranger Things 5, but that's how it's going to happen. But I can tell you're not enthused about the release schedule, and I think that's fair enough. I'm not a huge fan of them. Like, I don't know. Just put them out weekly if you're going to be doing this. At least then you're not unique and special in your own sort of way. But how about the footage here? Now that we've gotten a more extensive look at Stranger Things 5, are you feeling excited for things to wrap up?
So what I will say
for these 30-year-old men and women to finally graduate from high school or middle school, wherever they are now.
I'm going to give a couple of different thoughts here. The first is, if Stranger Things can release their trailer in 4K on YouTube, why the fuck can't everybody else? Okay,
I had the same thought because I started with this one, and then everything else looks like shit.
Goddamn, this looks great. This looks clear, right? It's very nice. And then everything else.
We have another thing that's from Netflix, and again, it's not really a trailer. I'm like, put this in 4K.
Why can't they all be in 4K? You already have the content in 4K.
Isn't it the standard?
Really?
Yeah.
Horse shit.
Totally agree.
Anyways, that was my first thought. Second thought is the biggest thought I had is it can't be understated the significance of Stranger Things. Like as it wraps up, I can't help but to think like the role that Stranger Things has played in pop culture. And I feel like it's brought D&D to the forefront of D&D now is
making it cool.
I saw a headline where they sold out a stadium to watch these people play D&D, which is totally absurd. It's nuts. And I feel like that's largely in part because of Stranger Things. You know what I mean? So I think Stranger Things has kind of like really, really, really shaped modern pop culture in a big way. I think it's been a big, 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 big deal. And it's an important thing, and we're seeing it come to a conclusion. It's taken a very, very, very long time to get 5 seasons out.
Yes, that's true.
The actors have aged considerably, but putting that aside, you do still have the same cast, which is commendable for like the amount of time that it's taken to do this thing. You know what I mean? Especially take somebody like Millie Brown, who has her own career, a very good one. But she is Netflix. I feel like she does a lot of Netflix stuff. So
she's got a good deal worked out with Netflix.
Yeah,
but, we've gone from Millie Bobby Brown being a child to now married with a child. In the span of Stranger Things happening.
It's crazy,
which is pretty wild.
And you would think
everyone else has gotten older too. So
10 seasons, maybe that's something that you would expect, like a Grey's Anatomy kind of thing, But
yeah, for sure, it's more. It's been on for someone's entire fucking life, because,
right?
You're at season
5,
some absurd amount, 20 something, I don't know, but 5 seasons, 5 years, roughly, maybe 6. No, like 10. It's just, and obviously it's really exacerbated because they were truly children. When the show, when that first season came out, and obviously even by season 3, you could see, they're getting older. You can't convince me they're actually in middle school anymore. And so, and I think they did have a little bit of a time jump, but certainly not as much as there has been in real life. But yeah, it's been around for a long, long time. So I'm excited to see how it all wraps up myself.
Same.
I think it's about time. It's about time. I think 10 years is long enough. Let's see how it all wraps up.
Exactly. Beginning, middle, and an end. That's what I say about TV shows all the time. Like I said, it is to think about the importance or the role that it's played. I think is a really interesting thing to think about. And
for sure. Yes,
and excited to, like you said, I'm excited to see it wrapped up. Because it needs to be wrapped up. But yeah, I think it's the release schedule's horseshit too. But,
and I think I ignored it when 4 came out. Like I feel like 4, they did at least 2 different drops, and I don't think I watched I don't think I watched until it was all out. I was just like,
they did a mid-season thing then, right? It's like
they did something. I can't. I don't remember if it was just split into two different drops.
The season finale, I think, was released later. Or something
it was
like
yeah. Oh, you're right. It was it's like 7 and then another 2 or 6 and then another 1 or 2. Yeah, it was something like that. It wasn't 3. Definitely wasn't 3 different drops.
Bullshit.
But
just like
and again, like the drop between 7 and 8, because there's 8 episodes in this final season. Like it's a week because it's Christmas and then New Year's Eve, so it's not like a huge long time between those. But you've got a full month between the first and second volumes.
But
it's just, I don't know.
It's awfully, it's audacious to ask somebody to sit down and watch the finale on New Year's Eve.
I agree with that. It's a little disrespectful of like people's time, right, like family time and holidays. Stuff like that.
You're pretty cool. You're Stranger Things, but come on, man, just release your shit together over the holidays.
Like if you're Robert Eggers, I will 100% go see Nosferatu or Werewolf on Christmas Day. Like Dr. Eggman, I got you. No, I mean, fuck whoever I'm with, it's Dr. Eggman has summoned me to a movie theater. What am I supposed to do? But the Duffer Brothers, I don't know if they have that same sort of command over me on Christmas Day. No. Like Christmas Day, 3 episodes of Stranger Things, 5 have dropped. Am I supposed to just not open presents and just pretend that turning Netflix on and clicking into Stranger Things 5 is my real Christmas present?
And then on New Year's Eve, you're not going to do your kiss. You're going to be watching.
No,
you're going to be watching the Duffer Bros,
watching the finale. And these fuckers like to make movie length episodes, so that finale is going to be 2.5 hours long. But we'll see. I will watch these. I will probably not be watching them on Christmas Day and New Year's Eve. I think that's fair to say. So hopefully I don't get, completely spoiled on who lives, who dies, who tells your story, blah, blah, blah. But, it is what it is. I'm going to kind of put that to the side because I can't control that. But what I can control is I will watch it when I have it. I mean, theoretically, if there's one thing that's nice about by the time it finishes up is like, I should have time off around then. You know what I mean? Like I shouldn't be working a lot. Sure, if I am working, it's going to be in a little bit more of a cool down stretch where people are taking time off. So I do feel like that will be kind of helpful for watching it because God knows it will be many, many hours. And I hope quality hours. The last season was really good, really well made. And even though it was long as fuck in terms of the episode length, like I don't know, it felt worthwhile. So This looks good. I mean, I think visually it looks like Stranger Things. Everyone's a bit older, of course, but I think visually it seems like it's delivering. And obviously, it's this is it. This is the finale. This is all of it. So, don't Game of Thrones it. That's the one thing you can't do.
It looked like we could see everything as far as the trailer went. So I mean,
it's a little easier to visually follow it. That's for sure. So we've got checking Stranger Things 5 column over final season of Game of Thrones. But yeah, we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. So, what I'm also looking forward to. When it comes out in maybe 4 to 5 years, based on this fucking video that we saw, is Blue Eye Samurai Season 2. We did not get a trailer for it. We got what is being called an official start of production. Season 2 of the award-winning series Blue Eye Samurai is now in production. We got a sneak peek with the creators giving some insights into what to expect, where we're going to find Mizu, as we pick up with season 2, and then there's a little bit of like an action piece, set piece that we see towards the end of this thing. So, I think Blue Eye Samurai was a show that Enrique recommended to us, as he recommended many shows on our Fantastic Four episode for those that listen, and movies, I guess, as well. I think I came to it after he recommended it. I talked about it on the year in review whenever the first season came out, which would have been 2024 or 23. I can't remember. I want to say 24. I feel like it was relatively recent. Oh shit, 2023. Fuck. God, has it been that long? Oh my God, that's crazy. But anyway, you came to it after I watched it. I think after I talked about it, and I said you came to it a little bit later.
This year or last year.
You've definitely watched it the most recently. We can certainly say that. So, safe to say, let's say that all as a preamble to say we really liked season 1 and we're excited about season 2. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. This is one of the. Gosh, I think this might be like one of the coolest animated things I've seen in recent memory. Like the show is just incredible. Season 1 is a badass show. It is so incredibly good. So I'm stoked for season 2. It ends in a very like season 2's coming kind of thing. For some reason, like you get this action set piece at the end of this little snippet deal here, this start production thing. And for some reason, I just didn't think that it was like going to be this kind of thing, in season 2. I don't know why. For some reason, I was thinking like cars and like 1890s to like early 1900s kind of deal. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay.
But they're like in fucking castles and shit in the UK. So I clearly just, I don't know. I wasn't thinking whenever I clicked on the link to watch the thing, but yeah, I'm 100% here for it. Very excited.
Yeah, I am very excited for it. I'm not excited that this is allegedly the official start of production. I mean, obviously that's not entirely true. They showed off new footage. It's clear that they have written something otherwise. Like I think that what they probably mean is we're like fully animating shit. Like we're 100% in. We've locked our scripts. Like we're doing it. We're recording voices, etc. Like I'm assuming that's what they kind of mean by start of production, because it's kind of worrisome to be like, I'm sorry, this show came out in 2023 and now you're starting work on it. Like the fuck you've been doing for 2 years. But I think it's a little bit of a misnomer from what I gather. This is expected to come out next year. So start of production sounds a little foreboding, a little worrisome. It's supposed to come out in 2026. Now, of course, that could be the Netflix Stranger Things model of New Year's Eve 2026, which is fuck you. This is a 2027 release. But the last one came out in November 2023. So maybe we can expect a similar time frame for releasing this one, which would put it, potentially 2 to 3 years between seasons, which is not ideal. I guess that is the Stranger Things model of taking your sweet ass fucking time doing something. And as long as you do it right, generally speaking, it's okay. Like it's like, all right, fine. As long as it's good, take your time, get it right.
That's it. Absolutely.
There's something to be said for that. Don't rush it.
Day.
Don't Game of Thrones it. Don't Game of Thrones it and rush it just so you can say that you're done with it. But I certainly would prefer to not have to wait 3 years between seasons of a TV show. I get it. It's a lot of work. I'm not mad at anyone, but you in an ideal world are not waiting this long between seasons. But I will be here when it arrives in 2026, and it sounds like you will be as well. And maybe that'll be a good opportunity to, at that point, since it'll have been however many years, go revisit season 1 and then roll right into season 2. So yeah. We'll keep tabs on Blue Eye Samurai season 2 as we get inevitably a teaser or trailer or whatever as it's getting closer to release, as we get an actual release date too. We'll talk about it again. So it's happening, and that for now will be good enough. So let's close things out with a couple of horror trailers.
Ooh. Black
Phone 2. We're getting a second one.
Why?
The phone is back, but it's in it's in like a
Alaska,
ski like Alaska, some sort of wintry setting.
The setting of True Detective season 4 or 5.
Roughly, yeah. It does seem to be close to that. It's a camp. It's an alpine lake camp. It's what the sign says anyway. Wherever that is, maybe it is Alaska. I don't know. Why is a fair question. I mean, this is definitely a movie I think that I think had a pretty solid critical reception, good Ethan Hawke performance, relatively interesting premise of this guy kidnapping kids and then they get to talk to other dead kids on this phone. Like, what's that all about? But not a movie that you would expect a sequel to. I mean, obviously that's a classic horror thing of just making a bunch of fucking sequels of things that have no business getting sequels. So we shouldn't be super surprised.
No.
But I am a little surprised.
And it's turned it into a Freddy Krueger situation.
Yeah, right. And that this is kind of what they're doing with it, is not just making a what if a different weird guy kidnapped other kids and then other dead kids started talking on a different phone that maybe wasn't black but maybe it was like red or something, or like
and it's
white.
Not even like a ghost story with like the guy that's haunting these kids.
Yeah,
it's straight up Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
It's interesting.
I don't know how I feel about it.
I don't know either. I really don't. I didn't know that I literally did not know that they were making this. And maybe that's a lie. Maybe we've talked about them making a sequel to this and on this very podcast, and I've just completely scrubbed my brain of that knowledge. But I didn't know they were making this until I saw a trailer come out for it. I'm like, oh shit. And it is like they brought back Ethan Hawke. They, he's Freddy Krueger and about like I don't know. It's interesting, but I don't know.
I really like Ethan Hawke. But, so there's that. I'm probably, I know I'll probably watch it. I'm pretty sure I'll watch it. But I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like it's a bit of an uphill climb to get me I think to impress me on this. I don't think it's something that needs to be made. But if we hop in, it might surprise me. So and there's nothing better in as being if we can consider ourselves a little bit of critics or whatever, if
sure
movie as movie enthusiasts, there's no better feeling than being surprised. That is actually the best feeling that I personally get from movies. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like to be excited about a movie and then be like, holy shit, it was so good, I'm so right. But nothing's better than going in with low expectations and being floored when you leave. That's the best. So if this delivers on that, great. I hope it does. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know why this movie's being made. So,
yeah, I really feel the same way all around. If there's one, I would love to be surprised as well. If there's one thing that does make me, I guess, more in the camp of, okay, this could be interesting. I don't know that it will be and that it'll work, is that it is being written by Scott Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill, who wrote the first Black Phone. It's also being directed by Scott Derrickson, who directed the first Black Phone.
Okay.
So and whereas that one was based off of a short story, this one is not. This is their kind of original take. Continuing the story, like that can go a number of different ways. Like could be bad fan fiction, or could be like they really deeply connected with this story and have like a really interesting idea to further that. Like it could be that. I don't know that this trailer tells me for sure that like, oh shit, they've locked into something here. Like not to jump ahead, something like Weapons, you can watch a trailer for something like Weapons and be like, there's something interesting here. I understand why this movie is being made. Say what you will about the movie itself, whether it's, good, has a satisfying payoff, blah, blah, blah. There's a number of things that you can talk about, but like just the pure idea of it is like, that's solid gold. That's really interesting. This one, the first movie had that sort of idea of like, that's really interesting. That could be really cool. That could be very interesting. And like, I think it was pretty good. I don't know if it was amazing, but it was like pretty good, like for what it was.
It's pretty original kind of deal, a little bit, not wholly original, but it was
but a little different, a fairly solid horror flick, which is more than you can say for most. I don't know. I don't know if this one quite has it yet, but maybe they're holding some things back. That's kind of what I'm hoping is, let's be surprised. What I will give them credit for as well, October 17th. So, it's a good October that, we're getting some summer horror, but maybe we're also getting some fall Halloween horror as well. So I appreciate the release date. So that's Black Phone 2. As I said, October 17th. You can check it out. And then finally on our trailers, we've got an official trailer for Him, which is actually styled the exact same way as the Finnish gothic rock band, but this does not have any relation to Him, the band, if you've ever listened to them. This is a 2025 sports horror film, which I think we got a teaser for a little while back. It's produced by Jordan Peele. It definitely has some Jordan Peele sensibilities, but it is not a Jordan Peele directed film, to clarify. It's an up and coming quarterback who goes to a compound for like a legacy quarterback, and some weird shit happens. some weird shit's going on. Is kind of what I'm gathering. I'm not sure exactly what sort of weird shit's going on. I was thinking it was kind of like, what if the substance, but for men, was kind of what I feel like. Yeah, like kind of the early teaser and the idea of it kind of seemed to lean into
like toxic
and
masculinity,
I get less of that
kind of
from
deal.
This trailer. But it looks fucking weird. It looks pretty out there, and there's some interesting imagery and some weird shit going on. But I don't know. I'm not sure about this one either, actually. But I'm curious how you feel.
See, I am 110% on board with this. I very much picked up, I think, what this was trying to put down. Ate it up. I think it's going to be a. Where's my Discord thing at? There you are. Yeah, this looks unhinged. Looks fucking.
It does look unhinged. I agree with that.
And it looks like it spirals fast, which I think is going to be interesting. I feel like substance is probably the most apt thing. You know what I mean? Whereas like substance was about staying young and looking a particular way. This is fucking perform. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
You like do what you need to do, and I really they do like the X-ray like fatality vision kind of deal, where like the people are hitting heads and helmets and stuff, and their brains are shaking all over the place, and I think at one point that guy says what pain is rewarded here or celebrated here or something like that.
The guy kept getting hit with the football and bleeding all over the place
from the pitching machine. Oh my god. Yeah, and it's very much. I think it's a parallel to Substance. I think it's the same thing, but now this is, for guys,
for men now.
For men, exactly.
But maybe not necessarily for men, just
but
more
athletes.
Hey, what if we applied this to some of the
not necessarily
crazier
men,
standards that we impose on
athletes,
men?
yeah,
like obviously, the Substance was very topical and talking about. What a woman experiences on a daily basis, and certainly that's something.
But I'm not experiencing him.
And
that's for sure.
On it.
I'm fucking overweight.
But no, we're not. But sometimes I think it's also fair to say we put a lot of expectations on people that we put on a pedestal and stuff like that. So yeah, again, it could be an interesting
dialogue,
exploration of all
that.
So
I really like a little bit more of an abstract kind of deal. You know what I mean? Something that really kind of gets you thinking.
This is definitely pretty abstract looking. And that's kind of where I'm like, this could, like, I don't know how to feel about it. And I said I don't know how to feel about it because I'm like, I think there's a version of this movie that is fucking absolutely bonkers and incredible. But there's just so much weirdness and unhinged shit going on that it's kind of just like, is it going to gel? Is it going to be cohesive? Like, is it going to come together and like fucking hit in the way that it seems like it could?
Yeah, it's got to stick the landing. If it doesn't stick the landing,
for me, it's right. It's got to stick the landing, and it's like I appreciate Jordan Peele producing. Like if Jordan Peele was writing and directing this, I think I would probably have that sort of confidence to be like, he's going to get it. He'll be fine. I don't think he's going to slap his name on shit that is crap. And I wouldn't hope anyway.
He's not a Ridley guy.
We hope not.
Not yet, anyways, right?
But I just don't know enough about the creatives like actually working on this. Justin Tipping is the director, and it's like that doesn't mean anything to me. Doesn't mean it won't at some point. Like this may be the thing that puts this guy on the map for me. But I just don't totally know yet. But you gotta I'm not going to discount it because I don't know who's making it. Like you got to put your stamp on things, put your name out there, and then if this hits, this really could hit. I think it has that potential.
What has Monkey Paw Productions done?
Well, that's a great question. That sounds like you're looking up the answer to right now, but I will do the same because I think that's literally Jordan Peele's.
Yeah,
that's his thing. So yeah, I'm not sure.
Get Out, Nope,
I guess
Us,
it would be
Candyman,
his own stuff.
Candyman.
Yeah, Monkey Man was good. Yep. Yeah. I think generally speaking, I think it supports this idea that he generally speaking does not just throw his name on trash.
No, he's producing a movie. I think
Black
it's probably
Klansman.
something pretty.
That Candyman one was pretty good. Hauling for Jesus, Save Your Soul. I didn't see that, so I don't know if that was any good. But
we'll see.
I think overall has a lot of potential. I'm looking forward to seeing what it brings to the table. This is not going to be a long wait for him. I think it's coming out in September. Actually,
yeah. I'm pretty excited about
September 19th. So it's a few weeks off for us. Less time than that for people listening to this. But yeah. Well, I'm really curious about it. I hope it's good. That's what I say. That's what I'll say. I hope it's good.
They did love Cough Country.
I hope all things are good, Oh, okay. Yeah, and that was good. So, all right, Monkey Paw, let's see what you got. Let's see what you got with him. Let's see what you got. But maybe now we should talk about what Zach Cregger's got with Weapons.
Zach
you ready
Cregger.
to talk about it?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Weapons is playing exclusively in theaters. It is Zach Cregger's Weapons. It was written and directed by Zach Cregger.
And
it stars.
Sorry.
And what'd you say?
Composed by Zach Cregger. Is that right? I think that's what the Wikipedia said.
No, you're right. He did do some music on it, along with Ryan Holiday and Hayes Holiday. So yeah, that's some John Carpenter shit right there, man. That's pretty cool. It's pretty badass. I feel like Sean Baker did like 8 billion different things on Anora as well. People are just like, I'm just gonna do all the fucking roles. That's what we would do when we were making.
It's true.
When we were children.
Micromanage
because we couldn't afford to pay anyone, and we could just do it better ourselves. Weapons stars Josh Brolin, Julia Garner, Alden Ehrenreich, Austin Abrams, Kerry Christopher, Benedict Wong, and Amy Madigan. Sort of, talked about, what's the gist of this movie, but to say it again, when all but one child from the same class mysteriously vanish on the same night at exactly the same time, 2:17 a.m. to be specific, a community is left questioning who or what is behind their disappearance. And I certainly was among those, certainly among that community questioning, what the fuck happened to these fucking kids, man? What happened to these goddamn kids is what I was fucking asking. So we'll talk about it. But first we got to talk maybe some box office, maybe some numbers.
Wah, 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 wah.
Box office breakdown. Weapons is doing very well. This is kind of like a smash success.
Okay. Is that
box
Cregger?
Office wise? This was a modestly budgeted $38 million horror feature, which to date, let's see, a few weeks into its box office run, has brought in $200+ million worldwide. With $117 million coming in domestically. And I think weekend-wise, it was number one the first 2 weekends it came out, and then it just dropped to number 2. Behind the theatrical release of K-pop Demon Hunters, which we would have talked about a little bit.
They got a theatrical release.
They got a theatrical release. They put out the sing-along version in theaters. Netflix did.
Stop. Netflix knows.
It was making bank, and there were not any other huge major releases. There was a couple of Sydney Sweeney bombs, but we don't need to get into that. And then Honey Don't, which was one half of the Coen Brothers movie that did not do well either. So not a lot of big releases. So Weapons actually had like a pretty good hold in its third weekend, 37% drop, $15 million, but it did lose out to K-pop Demon Hunters. But it did not do that its first couple weekends. It did very well. Beat out Freakier Friday, which came out the same weekend as it.
Surprise.
Okay. And but at the same time, like, one's a pretty violent rated R movie and one's not.
I guess you're right.
Mean?
One's an established thing, or I guess
so.
Yeah,
it was sort of established. You're bringing back Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan. So like it's like a sort of established thing. If something that was established like 20 years ago, kind of thing. But yeah, no, Weapons is doing very, very well. So certainly a good return on investment for Warner Brothers, who put this out. And that leads me to my second fun fact. You thought I was going to ask you if you'd like this movie, but too bad. It's time for my second fun fact.
Second fun fact. Lay it on me. What do you got? Hidden fun fact.
There was a bidding war for this movie. So this is relevant to kind of the budget and stuff like that. New Line offered $38 million to cover all the costs, production, and salaries, and that's where that $38 million figure comes from. And there was a bidding war for it that basically came down to WB/New Line and Universal, who apparently offered about $7 million less. But Universal was offering on this film in conjunction with Monkey Paw Productions, who obviously we just talked about, Jordan Peele's company. And it's unconfirmed exactly, whether this is completely related or not. But basically, obviously, WB won the bidding war. They ended up spending the $38 million and funding this movie. Universal, Monkey Paw, Jordan Peele did not. But in the wake of Jordan Peele missing out on that, he parted ways with his longtime managers after losing the auction. So there was a lot of speculation that Jordan Peele was so fucking pissed that he did not get to help make this movie or produce this movie that he basically fired his managers. So I don't know if that's 100% correct, and I don't think that's exactly accurate. Maybe it's just a little bit of a coincidence, but one has to wonder if it certainly played a factor. So anyway, this is the movie that Jordan Peele says, all right, I'll make fucking him. I'll produce him. But I really wanted to make Weapons, you motherfuckers. So Jordan Peele clearly saw something in this movie. WB clearly saw something and threw an extra $7 million on top of Universal's offer. So let me ask you, $38 million well spent? What do you think? Do you think Zach Cregger delivered with Weapons? How'd you feel about it?
Yeah, I think that Weapons, just like Barbarian, I thought Barbarian was incredibly well written and like sharp and witty and different. Yeah. This is all of those things. It is incredibly well written. It's got a different format. It's got like a POV character, chapter kind of deal going on, and and I think that's a really interesting way to tell your story. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought that it had spooky moments. I jumped one time. And so theater viewing, I went and saw it at the, is it B&B Theaters, I think? It's the old Cobb. Or the old
Cobb, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah, so B&B Theaters, and I saw it on the grand screen. And I saw it on a Tuesday, I think. Yeah, I saw it on a Tuesday because I had Wednesday off with the babies and stuff. So I went and saw an 8:45 showing at the B&B Theaters. I was like 5 minutes late, and I came in when I walked into the theater, the kid was running. But I saw it up on the top, and I didn't get enough beer. I got one beer, and then I tried to go out to go get another beer, and the place was shut down. I was that sucked a little bit, but anyways, at one point, and the theater was the only reason I sat up top, because I generally like to sit kind of like in the middle, maybe. That's kind of like where I aim to be. Sure. But the theater was pretty much like sold out on a Tuesday night at 9 o'clock, which is like, okay, what the fuck's going on here? And anyways, so I was sitting next to this guy, and there was a jump scare part. And I went, oh, Jesus Christ. Like that right there, kind of, And like the reclining chairs, my legs fucking went up into the air and shit, kind of like spazzed out. And clearly the guy next to me he spazzed out too, because we looked at each other. We started laughing. It was pretty funny. Just overall, I would say that this movie was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with this movie. There's some characters that make you laugh, and like their interactions with the other characters, they made me laugh in like a dark horror kind of way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
just the way that it is. It's clearly written to be funny, and it is funny. It delivers on that. I feel like there's more. I feel like there's more that I didn't get. Like there's a dialogue here that there's something that it's trying to say that I didn't quite grasp. But
okay. But
I think maybe we talk about it and then I get it, or maybe I watch it again and then I get it.
That could be a repeat viewing sort of thing where, especially because of the story structure, and for something like this where there is such a central mystery, like, you're spending the whole time figuring out what the hell is going on. I think, a lot of movies like this, I mean, it's hard to know if it's going to be satisfying watching it a second time when you do kind of have all the puzzle pieces and know where to put them. But at the same time, it could be interesting to not be so focused on, okay, what does that mean? What does this mean? What are they doing? Why did they say that? What's going on here?
Yeah,
and
like the surface level plot points.
Preoccupied with that you kind of have that opportunity to examine things a little bit more closely.
I think it's interesting that the title of the movie is Weapons, and it's about kids, and then school and that sort of thing. I think there's a it's kind of a conversation to be had in spoilers, exactly what's going on.
Sure.
But, and what the actual weapon is, you know what I mean? What is the weapon? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that's a conversation to be had in spoilers, but,
we can do that.
Yeah. I think that there is there's meat on this bone. You know what I'm saying? You got something that's fun. You got something that's entertaining. You got something that's spooky, like it's a good horror plot line. It's good suspense. You know what I mean? I thought it did a fantastic job of creating tension. I thought there was so much tension in this that I thought it was just really cool. And I like how it wasn't straight tension the entire time, because it was there were spots of humor in there.
Right, it was funny at times, and like that helped kind of break up the tension a little bit, but
exactly. But when it wants to be,
but not in a way that undermined things either.
Exactly. It's like I said, it's cleverly written, and there's dynamics in the written content and what happens on screen, and it's awesome. I think it's a fantastic horror movie, and. I would say if you enjoyed this movie, you very much will enjoy Barbarian. Again, I give it a glowing endorsement.
Okay.
And so my theater trip was not wasted.
Good.
It was
better. It was in fact better than Captain America: Brave New World, is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Both in terms of the movie itself and the investment of time. Yeah. Okay. Great. Glad we could establish that on the record.
And Josh Brolin. I could talk about characters real quick too,
Sure.
Characters, but actors. Josh Brolin fucking nailed it. I like Josh Brolin. He is. I don't know. I feel like he's just like slowly morphing into something. I feel
like we had like a little like a sidebar about Josh Brolin.
Yeah, just
in the
really
middle of something
like Josh Brolin.
Recently.
What is just he just gives like real strong performances. You know what I mean? Just.
Yeah,
like
he's like a commanding actor, but I think like a good amount of range. I think that he really can, be angry, concerned dad, or fucking menacing Titan.
Yeah, he's just he's got charisma. Dude's got charisma.
He's got it. He's got that. He's got the acting gene.
Who is the female lead in this movie? Is that Julia Garner?
Yeah, that's Julia Garner, who we're doing back-to-back Julia Garner features. She was the Silver Surfer.
Was she the Silver Surfer?
In the Fantastic Four: First Steps. So yeah,
good for her, killing it.
Seeing her a little less silver in this movie,
a little less silver bag,
very prominent role.
She was great in this movie. She plays the role of the teacher that lost all the kids. And she struggles with alcoholism and how that plays a role in her life, and how the loss plays a role in her life, and all of it is real. And you can like, there's bits in here that just feels you can tell that there's more. You know what I mean? You could tell that this is, when you say that he wrote from experience and kind of poured his heart and soul into these characters, or poured his grief into them, or what his traumas and stuff. You can really feel that, because her character feels very fleshed out. And what a hard thing that her character goes through. You know what I mean? With losing the whole classroom with the kids and like the town and everything else. You can only imagine like the amount of pressure.
Everyone thinks she's got something to do with it. And maybe she does. We won't talk about that until we get to spoilers. But certainly, from the outside looking in, that's to be blamed for something that feels like how could you possibly explain this? Like, how could you possibly know what happened? Like, to be put in that position is really quite harrowing, and you get to see that full on, in terms of her perspective in this movie, which is really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it does a really authentic job of, like, her character is thoroughly understood, because I feel like aside from just like packing up and getting the fuck out, okay, like, I'm done, I'm moving.
Right. That, which would be a totally justified response. You're like, yeah, fuck this shit.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't have a movie,
maybe that,
right?
Right. Then you wouldn't have a movie. Everyone think you'd probably be guilty at that point. And be like, what'd you do with those fucking kids? Like, why is she moving away? Doesn't that look a little fucking suspicious?
And she does a lot of things in this movie that are questionable, but at the same time, like, I think it's just the character's thoroughly understood. We'll talk about it in spoilers again, but
yes.
I thought that Benedict Wong was hysterical in this role. I thought he fucking nailed it. I thought I really enjoyed his presence. But I think my number one,
okay,
my number one is the fucking heroin addict.
Okay, yeah.
This guy, he, there's a heroin addict that just kind of like pops up in a couple of characters, like scenes, and then he gets his own chapter, and it's hysterical. It's so fucking funny. And I just, once again, it provides levity to like this terrible shit that's happened in this movie and in this town. The fucking heroin addicts going through all this stuff. But at the same time, it kind of grounds it too, because there would be the fucking heroin guy, right? And he would be the one to stumble in these kind of situations. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It just it kind of grounds the experience, and it provides levity. And he's just I think without that character, you have so much less of a movie. I think that I don't know. I think he's a very important character, even though he's he's kind of like the slapstick kind of character. I thought there's a sequence at the end of the movie. It's just I was just laughing my ass off. I thought it was so fucking funny. Anyways, so I really like that guy, Josh Brolin. I feel like the cast was 110% on board. I think they knew the assignment and they showed up for it.
Okay.
Josh Brolin's the concerned father, and he's a very he's a menacing dad that lost his kid. You know what I mean? And I think that I don't know. Everything seems very fleshed out. They seem like very real characters, and I really appreciate that. They seem like real people in sort of this terrible situation that kind of grows into like something that's not terribly grounded, but they're real characters for real situations that actually happen in real life. You know what I mean? So, and I think that not to keep talking, but you take a movie where they lose, like, where'd these kids go? These kids ran away, and it has to be said that classrooms disappear in modern America. Okay, they don't run away, but they fucking disappear for other reasons, right? And I think that's obviously a very horrific fucking thing that happens more times than we can count in a year. You know what I mean? Not more times than we can count, but it happens all the time. And these characters feel like the parent, the faculty and staff at the school, the towns, they're left with what's left after horrific events in the classrooms. And those core characters, like Benedict Wong, who's like the principal of the school, and the concerned father, and the teacher, these kind of archetype roles for these positions that these people hold in this movie, those are real things. And if those feel like real things in this movie, and I think they really nailed that too, because it's a very sensitive topic. You know what I mean? But it feels it feels understood and it feels respected, and it feels like I don't know. I just thought it was tactfully done. So
yeah,
that's
I agree.
That's what I got.
I liked Weapons a lot. I'll say that at the top. But you were talking a lot about the cast, and I thought maybe it was my time to shine with fun fact number 3 about the version of Weapons that we almost got. Were it not for some strikes in Hollywood, we would have had a very, very different version of Weapons, because most of the principal cast dropped out due to scheduling conflicts when the film got put on hold. So I was going to tell you about maybe some alternative casting, and you're singing the praises of who ended up in this movie, but I wonder if maybe it was for the best that we ended up with who we did, or for missing out on some of the previous castings. So Josh Brolin, once upon a time, that role was going to be played by none other than Pedro Pascal, who had scheduling conflicts with the movie called The Fantastic Four: First Steps and couldn't make it for this version of Weapons once productions resumed post the writers and actors strikes. Renate Reinsve would have been playing Julia Garner's teacher character.
Who's that?
I'm not super familiar with her. She's a Norwegian actress, so can't really speak to that too much. Brian Tyree Henry would have been playing the principal character that Benedict Wong played, and then finally Tom Burke, who was Praetorian Jack in Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, who was like the Mad Max guy, but not actually Mad Max. He would have been playing the cop. He would have been playing Alden Ehrenreich's character. So very, very different version of the cast as originally envisioned. So I don't know how you feel about the decisions that, well, I mean, not really decisions, but just the necessity of having to replace those actors because of conflicts, and it's the nature of the business. Is, things get fucked up in terms of scheduling when things don't happen on the schedule that they were originally supposed to. But I have to say, I mean, what do you think? Do any of those alternative castings intrigue you? Do you feel content with what you got? Do you think some of those could have been maybe more interesting fits? Or I'm curious what your sense is, having heard from your particular thoughts on the cast members already.
Yeah. So I think that let's see. I think Pedro Pascal would have nailed the emotionality of the father that lost the son.
Maybe not the intensity as much, though.
Maybe not the exactly. I can't find a better word. That's the perfect word. I don't think he'd nail the intensity. I think Josh Brolin really nailed that. Okay. I don't know about the Renate.
I don't know that I've really seen her enough to know to say one way or another whether she'd be better or worse in that role. So I think we're probably on the same page there.
I do think that I could see Brian Tyree Henry playing. I could see him as Wong's character. I've seen him in a number of things, and I think he could probably nail that. I think he could probably nail that role. I think he'd probably do pretty good in that.
Yeah.
And what was the last one? Let me see here. I'm trying to pull up the last
it was
one.
Tom Burke. Could have been the cop.
I think I'm happy with the cop.
Okay. All right. So overall, you feel like maybe we ended up in the right place.
I do. I think overall, I think we landed where I think everything worked out good.
Right where it belongs. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. I agree. I think we got probably the best version of this movie based on casting and everything. And there's talked about it with Blue Eye Samurai. There's nothing wrong with taking a little extra time to get things right or let things, fall into place in the way that they really need to happen. And I do feel like, I don't know, like I like some great actors there that absolutely could have done a lot with these roles, but everyone here just felt kind of right. And I think casting wise, I felt like they were really, really, I mean, it's a great cast generally. In a bubble, it's a great cast, but I felt like they were all really, really great fits for these characters. And I think, something that's obviously a huge advantage for an actor, and I think is something that can be said about this movie, is the opportunity to play rich characters and, well realized, not two-dimensional, some might say three-dimensional characters. And I do feel like, and that's sort of, I feel like what you hinted at a little bit, or directly talked about rather, is like, these are like, to me, I kind of was like, these are like real people. We're dropping in the lives of real people, and like you have this central premise, which is very, very unsettling and very weird and very out there of why are 17 kids leaving their houses independently at 2:17 in the morning, running away from the house. They've got their arms, held back to their, out to the sides, and they're just running like little fucking homing missiles. Like, what's going on there? Like, where are they going? Why are they doing this? Why is it just from this one classroom? And then there's one kid that's not. So like, there's a whole host of questions that arise of just being like, what the fuck is this fucking movie about? Like, what the fuck? And I will say, just to hit on that point, that to me, like, what a great fucking hook for a movie. So I think number one, this movie has an incredible premise, and I've said that a few times, and I'm saying it again. I'm just putting my official notes as we're talking about it in non-spoilers. Like, what a fucking premise to just come up with and be like, here's some really fucking weird shit, and then to take these characters and like, I don't know, like, this is like a 2-hour movie, like just a little over 2 hours, but it's a pretty methodical movie. The way that the story structure is set up is you get these little individual chapters with each of these characters. And to me, these characters felt like real people, and like to have that idea of these real people juxtaposed against something that is just so out of this world, I guess, so surreal in terms of like what it is as a central premise, like they're real people dealing with a situation that makes no fucking sense, and recognizing that this situation makes no fucking sense and having to grapple with that and try to reconcile with like the fact that like your life has been upended because of some thing that cannot be explained. So if you're the grieving father, you're looking for someone to blame because, well, someone's responsible. If you're the teacher and you're maybe not involved, let's say that you aren't involved, you're kind of you're in the same boat of trying to figure out what the fuck, while still being ostracized because people think that you're involved. If you're a cop and then you're kind of swept up into the bureaucracy of like trying to figure out like, hey, what the hell's going on with this?
Why haven't you figured it out?
Like, what are you guys doing? Like, you're fucking, you're the police. You're supposed to figure this shit out. It's your fucking jobs. You're getting the taxpayers' money to, figure out what the fuck is happening, and you're not doing anything. You're a heroin addict, and hey, man, you live in the same town. You're in the same community, and maybe shenanigans can ensue, and maybe you have a role to play in all this too, or you're the principal of this fucking school, and like, holy shit, you're dealing with a whole host of, you're dealing with so many parents who are like, like how does the world continue, when something like this happens, it's and there's a lot of so many interesting ideas that pull out of that. But I do think at the core for me is just, no, man, like, what would real people do in this situation? And like, most movies, I feel like, I mean, maybe not all, maybe most is overselling it, but like, most movies don't give this much characterization to so many characters. Most movies give a lot of characterization to one character, two characters, maybe three, three if you're lucky. Right. But I felt like this really felt like, I mean, I do think that probably Josh Brolin and Julia Garner's characters are probably the most realized. But I think everyone, like anyone that gets a POV basically in this movie, I felt like you get enough of a slice of their life to really get them to see that they are a real person. Like, real people are fucking messy, and do messy shit, and like, people aren't perfect, and like, at the end of the day, people are just living their lives trying to cope or grapple or trying to figure out what the hell, their role is or what they need to do on a day-to-day basis. Like, I thought that was all so interestingly handled. This let's drop these people in a day in their lives amidst this crazy chaos, amidst, and not even in the immediate aftermath of it, like, a month later, like, this fucking thing has happened. It is completely insane, completely batshit thing that happened. And like, how do you live life, in the wake of that? Like, to me, just a really, really interesting story, and then a really interesting approach. Again, the structure, the characters, and all of that, and the tone, like you said. I mean, just doing it with a lot of grace for like recognizing like this is some pretty harrowing shit, but also a touch of humor, because we don't need to be, reminded for 2 hours about how sad it is that 17 kids have gone missing and no one knows where they are, and people maybe don't seem to care enough to find out, except for the, 1 or 2 people that still kind of do. Like, I don't know. There's so many aspects to Weapons that are really, really fucking fascinating, and I do think that it makes for a really, really compelling experience. Did I get everything out of this movie that this movie is trying to tell me? No, I think I'm probably in the same boat as you. Like, no, I don't think so. And I do think that I would get more out of a second viewing. I didn't watch it a second time before recording this. If I had more time, I would have liked to, but I don't know. It's a really, really interesting movie. And I will say, I have something I'll say in spoilers in terms of like, this to me is a movie that, like, when I walked out of the theater, I wasn't 100% sold. Like, to be honest, I wasn't like super thrilled, jazzed, like elated with like, holy shit, that was fucking incredible. Because it's kind of one of those things where the premise is so interesting and it's so bonkers, and you could conjure so many different like versions in your head where you're just like, oh, what maybe it's this, maybe it's this. And like, honestly, I don't even know that I had picked any sort of like explanation in my head. I think I just didn't have an explanation for like, how is this going to happen?
Along for the ride.
I was along for the ride. And there is an answer. There's an answer to this. It tells you how shit went down. That's not a spoiler to say. Like, there's resolution in this film as to what the fuck happened. And I kind of felt like in the immediate aftermath of watching the movie, I was like, oh, okay. And it was kind of just like a sense of like, am I satisfied with that answer? And I think my initial reaction was like, I don't know if I am. And I think a lot of it was just like, I don't know that any answer would have been satisfying, because the answer is almost never as interesting as like the question itself,
Sure.
And I do think that there was an element to that. But what I will say in response to that is, although I kind of felt that way walking out, this is the kind of movie that I've stewed on, and now it's been a couple of weeks since I've seen it. And honestly, even by the next day, I was like, you know what? Actually, I think that was pretty satisfying as an answer. Like, I think it makes sense. I think it's justified. I think there's enough in the movie that makes it pay off, I think, in a relatively interesting and unexpected and satisfying sort of way. So it's like, I don't know that there is an answer out there that would be better than the one we got. And the more I sat with it, I'm more kind of just like I'm on like kind of on board with it. I think when I walked out, or really kind of as it was happening, more so, less so when I walked out. I think even by the time I started walking out, I was processing it a little bit more. But like the initial like, here's what's happening sort of thing, I was just like, oh no, are we in for another long leg situation where I'm just like, oh, I love the first 2 acts, the third act, I don't know about this. And I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that at all, I think. So I'm saying that now, and I'll obviously elaborate far more when we can actually dissect the who and what and why and all that and spoilers. But I will say that, like, I don't know, even though I wasn't exactly overjoyed or like, oh my God, blown away or anything like that, I do think that I'm at the point now, I'm like, you know what, I'm sold on this a lot more than I even was watching it. Like, I think it's a movie that can sit with you. There's a lot of interesting things in this movie while you're watching it. The mystery is really interesting, but I think the biggest credit I can give to this movie is the fact that 2 weeks on since seeing it, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about a lot of the things that I brought to the table, and that's to me, I think that's a big compliment that you can pay to a movie. So that's the compliment I'm paying to Weapons, is that I'm still thinking about it, and I think the more I sit and dwell and think about it, the more I recognize Zach Cregger's game and appreciate it. So, I think that's my non-spoiler thoughts. Would you like to recommend or not recommend this movie in some fashion? This movie, Weapons. Do you think? I mean, we're covering it now. It'll still be in theaters. Do you think people need to rush out, go see it in a theater? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that if you can see this in the movie theaters, I think you should. I think that I think it's topical in this. It's I think it's a kind of like a loose parable kind of deal. You know what I mean? It doesn't beat you over the head with any sort of particular thing. It's kind of fantastical. It's a horror movie, you know? At the same time, I think the longer you let it simmer and the longer you think about what happens in the movie, you can kind of pull a kind of parable kind of thing out of it. And I think I think it's rich. I think it's a really rich character study, you know? I think it's definitely worth watching. I think it's very good. I think it's an expertly crafted movie through and through. So highly recommend you see it in theaters.
I will second your recommendation to see it in theaters. I think so. I saw this on my birthday. I took the day off. I saw it at 12:40 p.m. And this is not a what you would envision as a let's go see this on a Wednesday afternoon kind of movie. But it was decently busy. Saw it in Dolby, and honestly, it just locked the fuck in. Like, I think this is a gripping, interesting movie, and I don't know again how the pacing would necessarily work on a second viewing. I think the second viewing, I would definitely appreciate the different aspects of having the answers and kind of reading scenes differently as a result of that. But I was riveted the entire time in the theater, and I feel like I had a pretty good audience. And I don't know how yours was, but like people were laughing when they should be laughing. People were, I think, appropriately, shocked when things turned violent and pretty upsetting. But on the whole, it's kind of absolute cinema in a sort of way, if you know what I mean. Of just like there's twists and turns. Yeah. Like this movie takes you for a ride. It really does take you for a ride. It's just north of 2 hours, but there's a lot of places that this goes. There's a lot of things that this explores, and it does all that really, really well. But at the end of the day, it really is just like fun's not the right word, but it was fun. Like, it was a fun cinematic experience. Like, I get enjoyment out of seeing something like this pull me along and weird and unexpected and crazy directions and challenge me and like, here's your answer. What do you think about that? And like, I don't know. I was very impressed by like the literal filmmaking of this. Like, I think the like cinematography, just like it created a lot of tension. It was very unsettling, and then it was funny but not in a way that it was just like, suddenly everything is campy and silly and stupid, but like, it also was in some ways. Like, I don't know. It's just a really, really interesting and delicate balance that was struck here, which I don't think a lot of filmmakers would be able to pull off. I mean, this is definitely a cut above your standard horror movie. It's meaty. It's meaty. I mean, it's there's like thematically, it's dramatically very interesting, but like just as a pure cinema experience, it offered a lot. Like, in a really sort of surprising way, but in a way that to feed back into recommendation, like, makes it a really worthwhile like theater trip. Drive there, sit there for 2 hours, drive back your 3 hours or however long it takes. Like, man, like, I don't know. I think it's worth
surrounded by the movie.
Surrounded by the movie. So hopefully surrounded by people. If you are surrounded by people that are like kind of in it in the same way that you are. Like, I mean, I feel like it was like a sort of collective experience where like people in my theater were reacting the right sort of ways. That like
that's a lot of fun.
You yourself are reacting. And I think that having it as a communal experience was fun. Part of the fun for me too is I saw this on my own. Anna did not take the day off, but when I did get home, or when she did get home, I guess rather, I gave her the Wikipedia version of the summary and like, here's what happened, here's this and this, and so it was kind of fun reliving the movie that way too. So I think she enjoyed my 5-minute like monologue of like the events of it, which I won't repeat for spoilers because it was very scattershot. It was like, oh yeah, and then this, oh yeah, and then because it does kind of cross cut. You see scenes from different perspectives, yeah. Rashomon vantage point style or whatever. So anyway, go see this in theaters. Go see Weapons in theaters. Support original horror and good horror at that. Support original good horror is what I say. So go see it in theaters. But now, let's talk some spoilers. Full spoilers for Weapons. Do we want to just like go right into the like, all right, so what the fuck did happen sort of thing, or do you want to talk some other shit first?
Yeah, I thought I think I think that... So we can talk about the weapons.
Sure.
Who's the weapons? Or what are the weapons? What is the weapon?
Well,
you could say the weapon is the stick, right? The tree, the voodoo tree, or whatever the fuck's going on.
Right.
There.
That could be a weapon. Could be
the kids.
I think the kids. I think the kids are the weapons, especially as we see them utilized in the ending. You can really see them very specifically used as weapons, or really just. I mean, not the kids specifically, but also anyone kind of under Gladys's spell are kind of used as weapons, very specifically targeted weapons. True. But it's in a most obvious and pointed fashion when you've got 17 kids, going after some old fucking witch. So
Yeah, I thought that was one thing that I thought that was really interesting was. Until she cracks so like there's the sequence with the parents, right? She comes in and she's with the parents, and the parents obviously like the parents are under this like trance or whatever, and they can't do anything. And their kid goes out to school, and she ends up using the kid to go do things or whatever. You know what I mean? To kind of keep like a sense of normalcy, I guess, or to like keep the facade up that everything's kind of normal at home. Mm-hmm. The kid continues to go to school and this and that.
Right.
But the parents are they're incapable of doing anything. And they're just kind of like, they're just paralyzed.
Just like catatonic zombies basically in their own home.
Yeah, totally paralyzed. And bad shit happens from their inaction. Which I thought was the terrible shit happens from their inaction because they can't do anything. They're paralyzed by this spell that there's whatever magic's involved and keep them in this catatonic state. And just I don't know, just like I guess the sort of bad things that happen from inaction. You know what I mean? From not doing anything, I think is an interesting. Is something that I like took from it. I don't know if that's what it's trying to say, but it's kind of what I took from it. I took a lot of things from this movie. There's the kid was picked on at school, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And he comes back and I kind of thought that was going to be a thing that happened, and it did. They were picking on him at school and stuff. And then of course, the aunt or whoever the fuck that witch lady is, I think it's the aunt.
It's Aunt Gladys.
Aunt Gladys, that's it. She comes in there and of course, does her magic stuff and takes all the kids and whatnot. But I thought it was, I don't know, it turns into a fantastical thing.
It does.
And the kids run away, which is fantastical, but again, our school situation's pretty fucking rough, and a lot of kids don't come home after going to school sometimes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whether usually it's school shootings and stuff like that.
Yeah. Typically.
And I think that this does a really elegant job of putting a fantastical touch on a topical subject.
Right. Yeah, in a way that, yes, you could have just made this movie about 17 kids that were gunned down in a school and how does a community react to that. And like, you could probably hit on a lot of the same things, and that could certainly be a worthwhile movie. But sometimes switching the horrors of reality up with something that's a little, making outside.
A parable, man.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like giving us something that's like, all right, well, you could say that, and it could be really, emotionally affecting, but goddamn, that is going to be a fucking 2-hour movie that is just going to be dour and really harrowing. And also, you know what? We get a lot of that just by reading the news, for those of us that read the news.
Right.
And so it's like, all right, well, how can you distill that message into something that like people are just going to want to watch because it's a fucking horror movie and it's like, crazy shit's happening, like to be able to infuse that sort of message and emotionality into something that is a totally different genre, that's right. That's a real that's really creative storytelling. I think at the end of the day is to be able to do that and to deliver on it in a way that is not just like it's not diluting the message by doing it in this form. You know what I mean? It just makes it more palatable and a little bit more approachable, and opens it up to people who probably would absolutely 110% not open themselves up to watching that, because
I'm not going to see that. I'm not going to go watch that.
Fuck that. And like, honestly, I probably wouldn't be able to blame you. You know what I mean? Like
it's hard. It's hard shit.
You know, it's difficult subject matter. So for sure. And so yeah, it definitely has a lot of echoes of school shootings, particularly. It definitely, especially that very the beginnings. Like the meeting,
I came into like
the school meeting.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I did see that.
Yeah.
And also, the significance of 217. Started looking into it while we've been recording this podcast. So maybe a fourth fun fact or fifth fun fact.
Yeah.
So 217 is the director after being pressed about it from numerous different people. He said it's the room number in The Shining. It's 217.
Okay.
But a fan theory before he came out and said about that was, 217 room. The room is 237. I'm sorry. Anyways, 217 was the winning votes in the House of Representatives ban of assault rifles in 2022. But that was like a fan thing, and that's a bit of a reach. So it wasn't it, but at the same time, 217 was the votes on the House. According to
apparently 217 is the room number in the book, and 237 is the Kubrick. Like Kubrick changed it for the movie.
Oh, okay.
It is. It could be. I mean, 17. The 17 kids, right? So
two people survived, and 17 kids in the class. So the ratio of surviving people, or not surviving,
right?
But
yeah, you've got Justine and Alex who survive, and then 17 of the kids that disappeared. We'll say. So it could certainly just be surface level. That could be it too. Yeah, it's the sort of
a couple things. He said it was a Kubrick. He said it was The Shining thing, is what the director said.
Okay,
but
I think he's wrong. He has no authority.
You don't.
Once the movie has been put to the public, it is up to the public to decide how to respond to these things. The artistic, the creative's intent. I don't care about that sort of thing. No, it's fine. I think that's a totally valid explanation. If that's the explanation that led to it being chosen.
So I think in the sense of like, I think in the subtext, if you will, I think is really awesome. I think that's what really elevates the movie. I think it's a really appreciated, not on the nose kind of thing. I mean, it is kind of on the nose, but like but it's not, because it turns it into some sort of fantastical fucking witch thing with.
Yeah, it can't be on the nose if it is using something that we hope cannot happen in real life. If it is taking it into fantastical, fictional type of resolution.
Places.
Then like that kind of changes things a little bit.
I also thought it was interesting that Josh Brolin's character, his kid was the shitty kid.
Yeah, he was a bully. I kind of feel like it tracks, because I feel like
Josh Brolin was probably a dick to his kid.
I kind of got the impression that he was kind of a dick to his kid, so his kid was kind of a dick to other kids, and I feel like maybe once his kid disappeared, he kind of realized, because there's almost the things where like. I can't remember exactly the things he says in his dialogue, but there's definitely things that he said, like where it was basically like, kind of seemed like he never told his kid that he loved him, which is kind of was very shitty, to never tell your kid that you love them, like, and it did feel almost like I'm a man, and I can't be mushy around my kid, because he's got to be a real man, and it did kind of feel like there was that sort of toxic masculinity side of his character that was just like, can't show any love to my boy. He's going to be a man. Like it did feel very much like that. And then obviously like after
when his kid's gone, like, he's sleeping in his bed, and he
maybe I kind of fucked this a little bit, you know, by being kind of a shitty dad, and like, I mean, again, that's that kind of beauty of the way that these characters were written is like Josh Brolin, you know, his character Archer, like is totally relatable, and like, you know, and it's so easy to just like sympathize with him, you know, as like,
sure,
he's a grieving father who's, you know, lost his kid and you know, and lost his kid in a way that like he doesn't know what happened to his kid. Like he thinks the kid's probably out there, but no one's looking for him. I'm frustrated by no one seeming to care anymore. It's been a month and we're just giving up. Like, what the fuck, man? And so like you can really totally sympathize with this character. On the other hand, you're like, well, it seems like he maybe was a little shitty to his kid. You know, he's kind of an asshole in some other ways. You know, he writes, he paints witch on the car. You know, on Justine's car. He there's the funny scene where he meets up with Justin Long and Sarah Paxton's characters, and you know, he asks her like, hey, I'm so and so's dad. Can I you know, like, can I watch your ring
Long
footage?
Was funny,
and she's like, No. And then it just cuts to him asking the dad, and then it cuts to him watching that, and everyone just being uncomfortable as hell. Was like, you know, he's not perfect. You know, he's arguably kind of shitty in some ways, but you know, like in a sort of relatable and human sort of way, in the same way that like Justine obviously kind of fucking sucks.
Like, what if your kid disappeared?
Yeah, like
I'm going to listen. I'm knocking on your fucking door. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna start harassing the police and being like, what are you guys doing? You know, and like, I mean, I do think there's definitely a part of this, you know, like when I was, you know, I had my little spiel of being like, oh, I don't know, is this a satisfying answer? Do I like this answer? Blah, blah, blah. And there was definitely a part of my brain that was just like, how the fuck did the police not figure this out? You know, like I did kind of stumble into that. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe that's commentary. Maybe that's a little bit of commentary right there of just, you know, not really devoting resources where they need to be devoted, or, you know, just like, well, you know, we did the bare minimum. We interviewed Gladys one time, and we're satisfied that, you know, the one kid, because it's like I'm thinking about this. I'm like, all right, so there's one kid that, you know, made it, you know, didn't disappear, and they interview his parents, who are both in a weird catatonic state, and they're, you know, he's being taken care of by his weird aunt, who like outwardly comes across as weird and unsettling and very like just off. And like they're satisfied with that, and then like, you know, Justine goes to the house, and like there's fucking newspapers all over the window, and she like looks in, and there's just two people just sitting on the couch, not fucking reacting to anything. She's like, Marcus, there's some weird fucking shit going on. You should probably look into this. There's some weird shit going on. And like, obviously Marcus is like, look, God damn it, stop talking to this fucking, stop following this kid home. Like, don't follow this fucking kid home.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Like, go live your life and, you know, be normal. Why can't you just be normal for once? You know, like, I understand that, you know, this situation is bad for everyone. Like, God damn it, stop doing shit that's going to make my job hard, and, you know, and make
I totally
me in a really
Benedict
difficult
Wong's
place.
Character.
Totally. It's totally valid. He's like, stop bothering me and stop doing weird shit. Just be normal. Stop doing this shit. You know, it's a completely valid response. It's like, that's like, there's so many shades to these characters where it's just like I get why Justine wants to talk to Alex. I get why she's following him home and be like, are you okay? And I get why she's frustrated with, you know, Marcus not taking her seriously. On the other hand, she's also kind of a train wreck herself. You know, she's you know, spending some.
She's an alcoholic.
She's an alcoholic. She's spending time at the liquor store. She's, you know, getting with the fucking cop drunk
or whatever.
And like, you know, we come to find out like, oh, he's a recovering alcoholic himself. So, you know, and like he, you know, he's back off the wagon, and it's just like, oh man, like there's so many like different things where it's just like, oof. And especially that cop, the Alden Ehrenreich character, like the more layers we peeled back on him, where like the first time I see him, I feel like is like kind of coming into the bar, and he's like, hey, you know, like, oh, I'm worried about you, and a
like,
sort of
hey,
thing.
You need to get your shit together.
And I was like, oh no, this guy's as much of a train wreck as anyone else. You know, he's fucking socking James in the face. You know, he's getting jabbed with some needles and stuff here and there.
He got fucking stabbed with the needles. Oh, getting stabbed with the needles was fucking funny. I laughed so hard.
Oh man, but he's like, all right, don't come back around. What did I fucking say? Shuts his fucking dash cam off and shit. Like just God, everyone's just like somehow the worst, but like also like they kind of just get it. Except for Marcus. I mean, Marcus is I think good intention. I think Benedict Wong's character is kind of just trying to do the best of.
Well, it's only trying to make a fucking zombie killer.
Well, yes, and then
his fucking eyeballs are bulging out of that fucking guy's head.
Some fucking Junji Ito shit. In terms of like what they did visually there, which is fucking nuts. And then man,
he just goes running across town until he gets hit by a car.
Oh man, he gets violently. His head gets blown up by a car.
Again, once it starts to get fantastical, I can't help. I'm here for it. I'm locked in.
It's insane. This movie's insane.
I just get the humor, Yeah,
and like the humor is almost in like a sort of.
How would you describe the humor of this movie?
It's funny, but not because it's like the release that you need, because like it's the only sane reaction to have amidst all of the chaos, it's not like, I mean, maybe there are a couple laugh out loud moments, but it's not like a scripted, like funny quippy joke sort of type of humor. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it is very much just like a cathartic release of like tension, or just like, I think the scene that maybe you were alluding to earlier was where Josh Brolin is fighting James, who's the heroin addict, and he just keeps popping back up, and they keep fucking wailing on him. Keeps popping back up.
Keeps throwing him across
just
the room.
ragdolling him around everywhere, and he keeps coming back.
You scrawny fucking bastard, or whatever he says. I don't know what he says.
Yeah, and it's like it's not like it's not funny because like it's not. I mean, it is funny. It absolutely is funny, but it's not funny because of just like like we're writing this in the way that this is a comedy, but just because the pure absurdity of it, it's like
he walks into that house, he breaks in the house, and you're like, oh God, what the fuck's going to happen? He's like, and then he sees those people, and you kind of jump a little bit. He's like, right. What the fuck? Oh, what the fuck? Oh, Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
But then he just like, all right, well, they're just chilling, so I'm going to
steal their silverware.
Just keep going about, and then like, oh, Willow, like just like a little shit. That one maybe is a little bit more scripted, like intended to be kind of funny. But again, played against the absurdity of everything around it is what heightens the humor, is because it is just like it's all just so insane. Like that's you have to like process it in some way, and so it's just like having this release from the tension of just something being a little funny.
Something I was thinking about is, they get in there and they cut her hair. Mm-hmm. They cut the teacher's hair.
Right. Yeah.
Did anything come of that?
Well, I think that's what she uses to get Benedict Wong to target her. She uses when she goes to his home, okay. And like that's super fucked up. 7 hot dogs. Who's getting 3? Who's getting 4? This is crazy. This is madness. But like super fucked up. He kills his husband, which is really awful. And
that was pretty fucking brutal, man.
Yeah, just brutal. And again, just
headbutt. Fuck.
Really, really violent. And then turns into the crazy fucking, eyes bulging, crazy son of a bitch who because that's when he goes to target Justine at the liquor store and the gas station and stuff like that. And so I think that's kind of what became of that. I mean, now we're going on a couple of weeks since I watched it, so it's like, all right, well, like why did Gladys do that? I don't remember exactly why she would have chosen to do that. I mean, I think she's trying to cover up some of like obviously people looking too closely into her shenanigans. Right. And so she's taking people off the board. I don't know. Maybe there's a better way to do it than to send some crazy fuck with his eyes bulging, running across the entire town trying to kill a teacher in broad daylight. But hey, she's a crazy witch. So what are you going to do? Which I guess kind of just brings me back to this idea of like, was this like a satisfying answer? And I think the difference between something like this and Longlegs, where Longlegs I felt let down by the resolution, was like I never expected this to be resolved by anything that wasn't supernatural, if that makes sense. Because how on earth do you explain the children running out at the same time, running in this weird fucking manner?
It wasn't, yeah.
And
it was never not
no trace of them. Like, it had to be something, maybe it was aliens, maybe it was, like there's things that like it could have been that it wasn't. But I think that this kind of makes sense, like there's like a limited, at the same time, there's a limited number of explanations that you could come up with that kind of makes sense of just being like, okay, that's why. So I kind of like this idea of crazy witch who is, feeding on kids to drain their power because she's dying and she needs to survive. I'm like, you know what, that works, that tracks, and and she's fucking evil, and so she gets ripped limb from limb and stuff, and it's kind of satisfying, and I think the biggest laughs I got in my cinema were when she was being chased by the fucking kids. The kids were fucking missiles through the windows and running through the house, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, what the fuck?" And so yeah, I mean that was cathartic in its own way and satisfying. Like this, you don't really know Gladys a lot. You see like kind of weird imagery with her popping up, like Alex pops up, and I think Justine's dream with kind of her clown-esque makeup, and there's like little things like I think you see her does James maybe see her in the forest or something like that, like around where his tent is and shit. Like you see like visions of her, but you don't really full on get her until you get Alex's POV, and then you see obviously the fucking horrors that she has unleashed upon not just that family but the town as well. In the like the 20-30 minutes that you really get with Gladys, they did a really good job of making her, number one, terrifying, and number two, just like she needs to go. Like she needs to fucking die. It made it like really, really satisfying to get to a point where Alex got to a position where he could, turn the spell and get those kids, make those kids into fucking weapons. You know what I mean? And come in and tear her to bits. So, it's not a happy ending necessarily because those kids are obviously pretty fucked up still. But it was satisfying, and like just like the little shit of just like the way that James, stumbled into that fucking basement and you just see the kids down there. Like that was genuinely unsettling.
Hey, like I know where these kids are. How do I get paid?
Yeah, it's like a $50,000 reward. Do I get that up front? Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, just the way that it all ties together was just so much fun.
He's very much like Jay. I got a lot of Jay from him. You know what I mean?
Of Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, a little bit.
For sure.
It's pretty.
I think
pretty
some
good.
of those vibes. Snoochie's Boochies, man. Snoochie Boochies. Yeah. No, I think that's totally fair. So yeah, I think all in all, I do think. I think the payoff. I mean, I was satisfied. Would you say that you were satisfied by the answers that you were given?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Okay.
It was like. If you draw from Long Legs was portrayed as kind of a, like, this is an FBI movie. This is,
detective, serial killer sort of shit.
Right. And then it turned supernatural, which, I mean, that could be okay, depending on how you do it. It could be fine.
It's just the back half of that movie felt very different from the first half in a
yes.
in a this got worse sort of way. Whereas this kind of just, I don't know. There was always some sort of weird shit going on.
I don't think I was ever misled. You know what I mean? It was a supernatural thing to begin with, and that's what I got at the end. I also got there with like subtext of other like real world things. Like I said, I think Parable's probably the best kind of like thing here. It's just, I don't know, just expertly told, very good storytelling. And I was happy with the ending. Concur. I like some, I don't know what kind of magic you'd call it. I know Anna corrected me one time with something being hoodoo, and I thought it was voodoo.
Right. Centers. Yeah.
But, this is like some, got some magic shit going on here. And I'm here for that. I think that's cool,
I agree. Where it makes sense, where it fits, and it I mean, again, how do you answer this without without either straining credulity, it's that like if there is no supernatural explanation, like what's your answer and how does it not feel so fucking contrived?
I think it does a really good job of putting like the supernatural thing in kind of like a real world kind of deal, because for example, if you are Benedict Wong's character and you do have to like, okay, let me meet this Aunt Gladys. I have to meet Aunt, like I need to meet the guardian of this kid. And the guardian of the kid comes up and it's Aunt Gladys. How the fuck's the principal going to deal with Aunt Gladys? He's not going to say, Gladys, you look fucked up. You're what the fuck's going on here? He's going to have to be professional to Aunt Gladys.
Yeah, he's going to be.
Aunt Gladys, listen, I've got to meet the parents of this kid. Blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? And if Aunt Gladys comes to the door of your home, well, how the fuck she know I live here? The principal's going to be, get the fuck out of my house. But the boyfriend or the husband or whatever is going to be like, you can't put, like, if what are you doing? She needs some water. Get her in here. It all felt very real. And then, boom, supernatural shit, And I thought that was...
Then pure chaos unfolds from that point. Yeah. Yeah, so my final
I also like
fun fact.
I like their Disney shirts.
Yes.
I thought those were pretty...
Oh, yeah, matching Disney shirts. That was good. Very good. My fifth fun fact, perhaps the final one, is that there was originally, in the scripting stage, I don't think it was shot, there was originally another POV that was cut, and that was Gladys's POV. So we didn't, we could have had a version of this that's a little bit longer that gives you more of a full-on explanation of Gladys's shit, but that didn't happen. So, and I think that's okay. I think it's okay to not, we have the answer to the main mystery. We don't need to know everything there is to know about Gladys, I think, for this movie to work. I think it succeeds,
I think you're better off not knowing more about Gladys.
Right. Like, you don't spoil the mystery of like, well, what the fuck's her deal? I mean, is she actually his aunt? I don't know. What is she? There's I think something that Cregger has talked about was like, he gave Amy Madigan, who played Gladys, like two options. Like, one is she's a witch and she's dying and she's going to use witchcraft to survive. And the other is she's some sort of fucking creature who is trying to approximate a human being. And that's kind of, how she has knowledge of obviously this magic that lets her, feed off of the humans and their energy and stuff like that. But it's also kind of an explanation for like why, she wears the makeup and, and the wig and everything's all kind of fucked and like sort of human-esque, but like not really. Like everyone looks at Gladys like, are you okay, ma'am? So I think that's a really interesting side of things, too. And I feel like the dialogue was really interesting too, which maybe kind of lends into this idea that maybe she's a really old witch, where she's like, well, they have a touch of consumption or something like that. Is that what she says about his parents? She's like, I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Yeah. Anyway, thought that was very interesting idea of a Gladys backstory that we didn't get, but there's maybe more to that we could get. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. But before we do, well, let me ask, do you have any final thoughts on weapons? Are you ready to kind of wrap things up here?
Yeah, we'll wrap it up.
We've hit on a lot. R.I.P. to Paul, the cop. R.I.P. to James, the heroin addict. Tough luck for those two, I would say. Hope Alex's other aunt is a bit better. And I hope Archer and Justine. Archer's a big, manly man, so he'd probably be above such things. But I hope they seek therapy, is what I would say for the future of these characters. They need some fucking therapy, is what I would say. It's my recommendation. That's my diagnosis. So there's maybe an idea that we'll get a sequel or a prequel. Zach Cregger said that he has an idea for something else in this world that he is not going to do next and probably won't do anytime soon, but he could do it. I think there's also some reports that, maybe that cut chapter from the script on Gladys could be turned into a full prequel, a full Gladys prequel, giving us the fuller explanation of that, but obviously separate from this movie. So what do you think? We talked about Black Phone 2 as being I don't know if I need this sort of movie. Do you think you need more weapons? Would you be up for more weapons? Weapons 2, Weapons
I think
0?
This guy's pretty accomplished. I think I would watch it. Do I need it? And the answer is no. I don't need it. I think that you've got I would enjoy another project separated from this. I don't need another one.
Okay. I think that's a fair answer. That's probably the answer I would say as well. As I could probably watch it as long as Zach Cregger is still involved. I think that, if he's going to commit the time to writing and directing, then theoretically he's not going to be doing it just for the idea of let's make a franchise, let's make some money. Obviously it doesn't hurt when that's a benefit of doing so, but he does seem to be, from what we've seen so far, and granted I haven't watched Barbarian, but I've obviously heard you and others, give it some love, some praise. Like, seems to give a shit, seems to just want to tell fucking interesting stories that come from, maybe personal, places that, he's got something to say. So he's actually writing and directing a Resident Evil movie next, believe it or not.
I'd be there for that.
So I don't know. He's talked about it a little bit. It's going to star Austin Abrams, who played James. So he's going to be back in the Resident Evil movie.
Okay.
So I'd be happy to see him come back, maybe. Probably playing a very different character, I would suspect. It sounds like it's not going to be a straight adaptation of the games, but it's kind of in that world. So I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of like, I don't know. Maybe a good Resident Evil movie would be nice. Maybe we could try that sometime. We've tried it about 8 different times, and they haven't exactly done it yet. So, if anyone's maybe going to give us a good Resident Evil movie, maybe Zach Cregger's the guy to do it. So, yeah. So it sounds like you're interested in that.
Listen, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, I think the guy's got credit with me. So, he's attached to something. He produced something. I can't remember exactly what it was. His name was stapled to it as a producer.
Okay.
And I enjoyed that one too. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm here for what he makes. I think he's doing a good job. So until I have reason to doubt him, I think that he's making good enough stuff. It was
Companion. Was that it?
It was Companion. It's exactly what it was. He's making good enough things for me to be. If he's attached to it, I'm kind of intrigued, and I kind of want to watch it, especially if he writes it. I think he does a really good job with characters. So, yeah.
All right. Well, there you have it. That is Weapons. Well, what's been going on over there? Past couple weeks?
The hunting wives has been happening around my household.
Oh boy. Okay. All right.
Do you know about
I see it on the Netflix splash page when we go to watch things on Netflix.
Have you watched it?
I have not watched it.
That is some saucy shit, boy. Let me tell you, it is fucking dripping saucy, very saucy.
Watching that around the babies?
No, we watched it at night. Sometimes I'll watch it in bed.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good.
No. Now if we watch it in bed, Sarah falls asleep, so we don't watch it really in bed.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
But I feel like there's this tendency to because they used to have HBO at night. Or whatever, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Or Skinamax or whatever. They don't do that anymore. I feel like for some reason I feel like Netflix feels the need to one up itself on sauciness. Okay, and I feel like this is the next leapfrog of sauciness, and I feel like we're gonna eventually morph back into doing there's gonna be mature content on Netflix, because this is. I feel like it really pushes the boundaries. These episodes are fucking saucy, dude. They're very saucy. But it's got a little murder mystery kind of deal, small town kind of vibes, and this and that, and that's what we've been watching. It's pretty good. Pretty intrigued to see where it goes. But it is very, very, again, saucy, very saucy content on the Netflix. I've watched Eyes of Wakanda. I think I've watched 3 episodes of Eyes of Wakanda. I don't know if I've talked about this yet or not.
I think you watched the first episode, but
I've watched 2 other episodes, and and both of them are really cool. The third one had Iron Fist in it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
The second one is like an alternate history kind of deal with Achilles, which is pretty awesome. Okay. So cool ideas, cool premises. I've very much enjoyed it.
How's the animation style? Like I didn't know if I loved it from the little I saw it in the trailer.
It's not my favorite.
Okay,
but it's good. Like
doesn't detract from your enjoyment.
Not at all. Not at all.
All right, that's encouraging.
And there's actually splashes of fantastic art.
Okay, all right, well that's good.
Like certain
to hear that.
Certain bits are beautiful, but it's not like all the time beautiful. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
I started the Odyssey.
Are you listening to it?
Yep, Stephen Fry's The Odyssey.
Okay.
So it's going to be whenever we go to like watch and cover the Odyssey that's coming out.
The Christopher Nolan one?
Christopher Nolan, that's the name I'm looking for. Whenever we cover Christopher Nolan's Odyssey, I imagine the dialogue's going to be radically different than Stephen Fry's The Odyssey. But so far, because I think the Odyssey is part 4 of like Stephen Fry's Greek stuff, and
okay, right,
and it's more of the same. Just to say, it's really good. Really like it. What else I've been watching? Alien Earth. Have I talked about Alien Earth at all?
I mean, in our text messages, yes, but I don't know if you.
I'm on episode 3 of Alien Earth, which I think
because it just started airing a couple of weeks ago. I don't know that it had started airing by the time we recorded our Fantastic Four episodes. So
it would have been very close. They release episodes every Tuesday.
Yeah, and we've been 2 to start, and then it's been weekly since then. So I think the 4th one maybe just
today.
Came out.
Yeah, today.
Yeah.
And because we've been recording on Tuesdays. Alien Earth, man, is good. I really like Alien Earth.
Okay. It's Noah Hawley, he did Legion and other good things that people like. So, it's maybe not crazy.
I really like it. I wasn't sure about it to begin with, and then we saw the full trailer and I'm like, wow, that looks like they spent some money on this. And so far it's fucking delivering. It's really good. Okay. It's different, in a couple of different ways. It's really expanding the kind of like the IP, in ways that I haven't seen before. I'm not going to say that those ways didn't exist within the IP, but if they did, I didn't know about them. Okay. And it's fun. I think it's thought invoking. I think it's really good sci-fi. It's good stuff. I'm really happy with it so far. Timothy Oliphant is fucking.
Oh yeah, he's
in it. A
synth, right?
I think he's a synth.
Yeah, got blonde hair, man. It's crazy.
He's got blonde hair and stuff. Yeah, it is pretty crazy.
Well, fun fact for you, I've watched 1 episode of Alien Earth, so I've
started
it.
Okay, what'd you think about the 1 episode?
Different, definitely different. I am intrigued. Well, it's funny because there are parts of it that are like full on like, oh, this feels like fucking quintessential classic Alien, and then there's other parts that I'm like, what
are we watching?
This is totally
different.
This doesn't feel like Alien at all. I'm like, so I'm curious to see how it all comes together and how if everything comes.
Gels, I think it kind of melds into season 2, and then it kind of like once it starts to meld together on episode 2, I think you're along for the ride. Come episode 3, you know what I mean? I think it kind of just it pulls everything together in a really harmonious way. I think it's really good.
No, it's definitely interesting though. I could definitely see myself trying to stay on top of it week to week, and I could see us covering it. By the time it wraps up in September, I guess probably. Roughly.
So I've been watching that. I've been watching Hunter Wives. Is there anything else? Bennett's been watching. Bennett started swimming lessons today, It's really exciting. Baby Nolan is he's taken an affinity to ceiling fans. He likes to watch ceiling fans.
Okay, he's just watching them. That's good. He's not like trying to like hang from them or anything yet. So it's...
no, I mean he can put his hands up there, but he's a long he's a long ways away.
Okay, yeah. If he could reach, he probably would. Like to lay on top and then go run in circles.
He's he's like making like zombie noises and stuff. So that's cool.
Sure, of course.
He's a pretty adorable. We thought we had it easy with Bennett, but Nolan is we're so fortunate, so incredibly fortunate.
Nice.
Because Nolan is he's just so easy. He doesn't do anything. He just eats and like grunts a little bit. And I mean, Nolan does not do anything at all. He's the easiest baby. But once he hits 2, everything changes when they hit 2. 2 has been
terrible twos.
Yeah. So Bennett, for example, we don't need to go on a parent like fucking rant, but today, Nolan, I said, Nolan, what's her name? Peyton. I got a text message that when one of the when somebody came into the classroom, Nolan was on top of another student, the pummeling of them. Okay, just pummeling this other kid. I'm like, oh, well, I will leave as soon as I get freed up at work. I'm gonna go up and pick up Bennett and explain to him that he can't be pummeling another kid. Okay. Anyways, I didn't get to go pick him up, so I asked him if he was mean to Peyton today. I said, Bennett, were you nice to Peyton today? No. What did you do? Hulk. Bennett hulked Peyton.
Hulk smash.
He Hulk smashed Peyton. That's the way he fucking said it, dude.
Goddamn kids.
So I had to shelf the laughter.
No Hulk.
Yeah. Was Peyton mean to you first? No, Dada.
You didn't Hulk. You read Hulk.
You just Hulk smash? Yeah, Dada. Hulk. And he does this Hulk. You can't Hulk Peyton. That's not nice, baby. That's not nice. You cannot Hulk Peyton, okay? You don't Hulk your friends, okay? So, anyways, we're going to see what's happened, what goes on. But, yeah. So, there's some people spiraling at work. There's all sorts of stuff going on at work right now, which we don't have to totally get into. But, needless to say that my week has been, it's
Tuesday, but it's been a long week.
It's Tuesday, but
how we put it.
Exactly. It's Tuesday, but it's been a long week. So, I very much feel like Benedict Wong sometimes. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
Anyways,
you gotta be diplomatic. Just try to work through these things.
Just fucking navigate them as best you can. Stay level-headed. Stay pragmatic and just kind of like fucking full steam ahead. Anyways. I think that's all I've been up to. Alien, Hunter Wives. Bennett's been watching some like cheap ass Netflix cartoons, which infuriates me. Like they're like Korean, like just like it
sounds like he's been watching Avengers Assemble to me.
No Avengers Assembled. It's Dino Master Power or something. It's like, I don't know. I have to tell you this one last thing.
Yes.
I'd like to share the vocabulary words that I've used in my decks. I'm going to tell you my decks, and you may or may not be impressed. I don't know, but I have 5 decks. One is Divine Glory, my Magic Gathering decks. I feel pretty good about these decks. They're pretty good.
Okay.
My Divine Glory deck is a Angel Soldier deck with Eowyn the Shield Maiden as my commander in Magic the Gathering. So it's got a lot of Lord of the Rings characters. But then they also get support from angels and a god card in here, which is really cool, and it's a very thematic deck. I have Lord Shrufus the Sylvan Sproutsire. That is the name of this deck, and Shrufus Sproutsire is the commander of that deck. And this deck actually has Iron Man armor, and this is what you call a Voltron deck. You make your commander the big bad of the deck, right? And you just bulk him up as much as you can, which is pretty cool. So I've given him. He has the Iron Man arc reactor. He's got Iron Man armor, and a bunch of other stuff, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
I got Oblivion's Progenitor, and that is my big bad alien deck, which is pretty cool. I got Twilight's Decadence, which is my vampire deck.
So decadent. Oh, okay.
Hey, how do you like that? It's a vampire tribal deck. And it's pretty nasty. I think it's pretty good. And then I have Verdant Dominance, which is a big green, it's predominantly a Hydra deck. There's a bunch of Hydras in it. And it's a ramp deck. It ramps really hard, and it's got big green stompy creatures in it. So those are my 5 commander decks for Magic the Gathering. And it's been a lot of fun. I've been having a lot of fun with those decks. So that's everything I've been up to.
Well, that's pretty cool. Are you putting these are just decks that you've made? Have you tried playing with them or anything like that?
Oh yeah. No. I've made these decks and then I play with them. Yes.
Okay.
So Steven and I play online, and we play in person when we get together. The Commander format is a 4-player game. Ben has a couple of decks. He hasn't played the past couple of months, and then Shannon's boyfriend. Shannon has dumped her boyfriend, and I have not played with him since she's dumped her boyfriend, which is
that's fair. Yeah, sever ties. Yeah,
it's been a dent to the pod. Yeah. That's what they call a 4-person group, is a pod, and so now there's 3 to the pod, but Ben hasn't played in several months, so it's just me and Steven again, which fucking sucks. But c'est la vie. You just keep fucking playing and collecting and stuff, so it's cool. So. That's the Magic the Gathering and whatnot. That's what I've been up to. What about you, dude?
Well, it's funny. There was a point where you stopped talking and you were like, "Oh, that's it." And I was like, "Oh, no Magic the Gathering on this episode." But
psych.
Exactly. A few things on my end. Anna and I watched the first season of an HBO show by the name of Insecure, which is created and stars Issa Rae, and I hadn't watched it. I think Anna had seen the first few seasons, I think, if I'm not mistaken. All but the final season. And how do I know that? Maybe because she just told me, because she was listening in to me talking about it right now.
You've seen the first couple episodes before, by the way.
I'd apparently seen the first couple episodes before, by the way, but I don't remember it. So we rewatched it. We finished the first season within the past week or so, and I enjoyed it. I wasn't 100% sure whether I was going to vibe with it and enjoy it as much as I did. It's like Weapons, a show about messy people and messy people doing messy things and doing dumb, stupid things, and there's not as many. Well, I was going to spoil Weapons, but I guess we're technically out of Weapons spoilers, so I won't do that to our listeners that maybe would have skipped over our Weapons spoiler section. But let's just say it's a bit more grounded. It's a bit more grounded and realistic than Weapons is. But I'm excited to see where everyone's hot mess continues in season 2. There's 5 seasons in total, all on HBO, all streaming on HBO Max, and I'm looking forward to watching more of that. It was kind of like supposed to be our comedy, and it is definitely funny in many ways, but it's also very messy in some ways too, where it's kind of just watching a train wreck unfold. But enjoyed it. We are seeing 9 Inch Nails live tomorrow, in fact.
Wow.
So we did some prep for that back in the day, in the early days of the Blu-ray format and the format wars between Blu-ray and HD DVD, if you remember those times. 9 Inch Nails put out a live concert called Beside You in Time, which was taken from their With Teeth tour, I think 2005 or 2006, I think. And I remember it coming out on Blu-ray because it was like touted as like the most technically impressive Blu-ray that had ever been released, and I hadn't watched it since I probably first bought it back in 2007, 2008, whatever. And I will say it does not look quite as impressive in our modern 4K era with 4K OLED TVs. There's a thing where there's a screen in front of them for the first couple songs, and Anna and I both had a moment where we're just like, wow, this looks like shit. But turns out it's just screens, so they could have visuals on top of it, and then they get rid of the screens, and it looked a lot better. But the audio was pretty good. Great. I mean, 9 Inch Nails are so fucking good. I'm excited to see them tomorrow. Let's put it that way. And yeah, it was fun just kind of locking in and enjoying a 9 Inch Nails concert, on the Blu-ray. I haven't really watched like a concert film like that in a long time, so that was kind of fun to do that. But
last time I watched was Taylor Swift.
Yeah, and I still never watched that.
You never watched fucking Taylor Swift?
I guess I better watch it now in honor of
their marriage, yeah, or their
their future marriage.
Exactly, yeah.
Proposal engagement, yeah, for sure. I saw some live comedy. Saw Chris Fleming. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Chris Fleming. Let me look him up. Let's see.
I know he's done some specials. I want to say one's on Peacock, maybe. Wasn't familiar with him, but we were invited by a friend who had friends who had to bail, couldn't make it because they, were supposed to come into town, couldn't make it. So she had a couple extra tickets. So Anna and I went and saw him in Philly, and put on a really funny show. I think it's the first time Anna and I had ever gone to a comedy show together. So
comedy shows are a lot of fun. I like comedy shows.
Yeah, I think I always kind of just forget, how fun they can be. Yeah, no, it was really fun. I enjoyed his show. He's a trip. I mean, he's kind of a character. His style of comedy, I think, is very physical, but not in like a Carrot Top prop sort of way. Just in like the way that he moves and carries himself is like just the way that he physically commands the stage is almost part of his comedic performance. So I really enjoyed it.
Those are fun ones, yeah.
So yeah, no, that was a lot of fun, and just it was like there was 2 weekends in a row where we went up to Fishtown, which is a part of Philly that we spent a lot of time in law school, going out on weekends, and now we're older and have jobs and we don't really do that sort of thing anymore. But there was like 2 weekends in a row where we did that because we did Chris Fleming, and then this past weekend we saw the Struts live. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but we saw the Struts, and that was fun. They played their like debut album in full and a few other songs and stuff. So that was fun, and it was so it was so funny because Anna said something to me at one point. She's like, "I think we're the youngest people in this place." And I was stunned. I was like, "No way!" I'm like,
You stop it.
And we looked around, and everyone in there, and like they weren't ancient. Don't get me wrong, but everyone in there was like at least 40 or 50, and it was like kind of shocking. I was just like, "Oh man, I guess British rock bands like I don't know, like they toured with." We were like speculating after the fact, and I was like, why is their crowd so old in America? And it was like they toured with the Rolling Stones and stuff like that. So it was like a carryover of like, when people like they made fans of people, when they were at a Rolling Stones concert who were probably olds at the time. I don't know. It was a very interesting observation. And we don't like to think of ourselves as old, but man, I did.
We're getting there.
I did just turn 33. You're going to be 34 in a couple months. So. Right,
we're getting there.
My math is math, and so
it's almost like halfway to fucking 70.
Yeah, well, we're not quite halfway though, so we're still on the young side of things. Right. So that's not so bad. But yeah, no, Struts they put on a really good show, and it was the comedy show and the and the Struts were at the same
That
venue.
sounds like a good time. You've had a good couple of weekends.
Yeah, no, we had a good couple of weekends, busy. You know, our usual Saturdays are more insular, and we usually have people over on Friday, have too much to drink on Friday, recover on Saturday, and then recover a little bit more on Sunday. So this was a little bit than our usual, a little bit different than our usual playbook of going out there and doing things. Now we're seeing Nine Inch Nails on a fucking Wednesday. But I am taking the day after off from work, so that'll help. I watched the one episode of Alien, but we kind of talked about that. So curious to watch more. I will watch more at some point. But I think that's it on my end. Football season's about to start, which I'm pretty excited for, and it's kind of crazy that it's already that time of year again. But yeah, should be fun. I think that's all I got. So I think maybe we should wrap this up. Thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please spread the word. We're on Patreon at patreon.com/watchreviewrepeat. You can get early access to all of our regular episodes, timed exclusive access to bonus episodes. Maybe if people give us some suggestions, some ideas for bonus episodes, or maybe we'll just be left to our own devices and come up with something. We can do that, certainly. As I have made the promise, and I intend to keep it, that we will put out a bonus episode before the end of the year. I know that isn't offering a lot, but I'm going to make good on that promise. We'll do something. Otherwise, you can follow us on our socials. We are our website is watchreviewrepeat.com. You can get links to our socials there. We are on Blue Sky at watchreviewrepeat.bsky.social. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/watchreviewrepeat. We are also on Instagram at watchreviewrepeat. So you can certainly get into contact with us any of those ways. We monitor those. We also monitor our Gmail, watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. If you've got something to say, send it our way. Again, we're going to solicit recommendations, for anything really at this point. Or if you've got thoughts on weapons, you've got thoughts on what we're covering next 28 years later, you've got thoughts on anything else that's come out. Freakier Friday, you've got some thoughts to share on. We'll talk about Freakier Friday. I don't care, man. I didn't watch it. Andrew didn't watch it, but happy to talk about it.
We could watch it.
We could. If you suggest it, all you have to do is pick up your phone, type on a keyboard, type on your laptop, whatever device you use, an iPad. You've got an iPad. That's fine. You can use that. So yeah, we'd love to hear from you. So yeah, maybe try that. Our intro and outro track is Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. As I just said, 28 years later is going to be our next episode. We've both seen it, so I think we'll probably be recording that in roughly a week's time from now. And that's an interesting one. We'll get into it. But I've got some things to say. I suspect Mr. Meadows has some things to say.
I've got thoughts about 28 years later, for sure. I've got
fucking
thoughts.
Danny Boyle and Alex Garland back together again. We'll see what they came up with. I'm looking forward to having a conversation about it. I've been sitting on it for probably now close to a couple months. I think I saw it around the time baby Nolan came into the world, and so I'll probably brush up on it a little bit before we record.
A little wiki dive, probably.
A little bit of a wiki dive may be helpful, but I definitely still have thoughts, however many months later, which maybe says something then and there. So we're closing in on 300. I'll make that note here as well.
Yeah, we are, aren't we?
And I think I teased that we have something special that we're working on for episode 300. And I don't think we've totally figured out the exact details of it just yet, but suffice it to say it's going to be in line with what we've done with our big milestone episodes with 100 and 200. We did our 5 favorite films. We did our 5 favorite television shows. Maybe we'll do 5 favorite something else, something or another. But we'll give you full details before 300. Once we finalize that,
give you some sizzle, Yeah,
we'll give you some sizzle. We've got a couple. We've got a little bit before we're even going to be ready to record on that. I think Andrew and I both have some homework to do, making decisions on favorite things and maybe watching some favorite things, and
Yeah.
So, but it's in the works. May not be a bonus episode. I'll still do a bonus episode in addition to that, but that will be certainly a bit of a different flavor from our regular thing. So it'll feel closer to a bonus episode, but I'm looking forward to doing that. I'm looking forward to it all. I always look forward to talking to Andrew.
That's it. Yeah, they're always fun, man. Always good stuff.
So with that said, until 28 years later, I guess Andrew can take our listeners out.
Take care now. Bye then.
And to clarify, I don't mean we're going to be recording in 28 years later from now. We're going to be talking about the movie called 28 Years Later, in case that wasn't clear.
Welcome back.
All right. Anyway, now that that's been made clear, later's on the Menjay.